All right, so we are on. I am joined
Awesome.
today by Dale Basista. Did I get that right?
Yes, sir. You got it right.
From the brand new YouTube channel, The Biblical Linguist.
Yes.
And we are going to, well, first of all, so I'll give my background for your channel and you can give yours. So I have been a lifelong language learner, and Greek is my fifth language, which I started around 2015. So it was my first trip to Greece. And I came to Greek with a background in Russian. So my bachelor's degree is in Russian. And then after Russian, I had formal training in Russian and I have a degree in Russian. I also sort of self-taught Old Church Slavonic. Um, and then I enrolled in a Spanish class in my last semester in college, but then decided to drop out of it and just teach myself because the pace of the class was just too slow for me. And then that's where I really cut my teeth self-teaching, applying the lessons that I learned with formal education in Russian. But I mostly taught myself Spanish and then French, and then moved on to Greek. So that's where I'm coming from. So I've been doing this for 10 years now. And then what's your background, just so everybody's clear, like, why I'm teaching you and not the other way around.
Right, right. Absolutely. Well, first off, Stephen, thank you so much. Every time I have a chance to interact with you, it's like, uh, it's like a dream come true because to me, you're like a hero for completely and thoroughly debunking Ammon Hillman, who is absolutely insane. And I'll leave it there. But so I'll tell my story. I was 16 years old when 9/11 happened. At that time, my grandma, she brought me a news article saying that the government is trying to hire Arabic translators for the war on terror. At that moment, I zoomed over to Barnes and Noble. I bought a Teach Yourself Arabic book. I started teaching myself at 16. At 18, I joined the military. The Air Force sent me to DLI to learn Arabic. I was super happy for that because I already had the script down. I had a few hundred words under my belt. And so I went and I learned Arabic at DLI. I worked as a translator for a good 10 years after that. And I got out. I stopped using language for probably another good 5, 10 years. Um, I also acquired Spanish along the way. My oldest daughter is Puerto Rican. She's half Puerto Rican. And so I did acquire Spanish. I claim Italian, but it's really just Spanish with like an Italian flair added to it.
Okay.
But I do claim Italian. I went to Sicily this year, made a lot of friends. I'm conversant, I'm not perfect. I took one semester of Russian as well, but don't hold that against me. I speak,
Молодец.
yes, yeah. I speak zero French, but that is on purpose. And the Lord put it on my heart recently that you've used your skills for language for war. Now you are gonna use it for me. And that's when I was inspired to start learning the Greek, the Koine Greek specifically, but I
Mhm.
want to learn modern Greek. And once I feel good with that, I want to move on to the Hebrew, the Aramaic, and then after that, I'll get to Latin, I'll get to Russian. But the Lord put it on my heart not just to serve Him with language, but also to study language my whole life, to never stop, because it's a never ending quest and it is a never ending journey of unending, fascinating discoveries. And so when I found you, Stephen, I'm like, I was looking up to Wes Huff, and then I found you, and I'm like, Wes Huff, step aside. Stephen Nelson, I've worked with enough
Yeah.
translators, linguists. I could tell talent. I could spot it, and you're the talent. Like I
Well,
could
thank
tell
you.
immediately.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well, and I don't
absolutely.
think, I mean, yeah, talent there is some language talent that, may come into it, but I think a lot of the quote unquote talent is just sort of to have the patience to put the time into it and not quit, because,
Yeah.
I can't say, like, my biggest failure was French. because I did it for a couple of years and then I just never really got into a routine where I had a lot of practice and I kind of quit. So, despite the talent I may have, I didn't have enough grit to really stick through it and continue to hone my French, and I let it get super, super rusty. So, language talent can only take you so far when you just don't have the motivation to stick with it. So let's go over a little bit. I want to add to the studio your recent video,
Okay, thank you.
right? So that would be this. Okay. So
Oh
your
boy.
video,
In English.
can you hear
When I read
yourself?
it in the Greek, there's a
Yeah.
clarity, but
Okay.
the fact that I have to fight to kind of grapple with what it's trying to say makes me analyze it deeper. And I'm getting like probably 10 times the amount of value out of reading it in its original Koine Greek, Koine Greek, as they would have said it.
Okay. Um, so you're reading it in the Koine Greek, as we sort of discussed. We've only had one session, right? So we
Yes.
did go over some of the sort of terminology, and I went over kind of some of my pet peeves about, like what we're going to call this language that we're actually reading right now.
Yeah.
From the perspective of anyone writing in what we are going to call the Koine Greek of the first century, the common Hellenistic dialect, none of them were really calling the language that, right? Like if you
Yeah.
look in the Bible, they're just calling it, I Elliniki glossa is like the Hellenic language, right? It's Greek. It's the Greek language.
Yes.
So, but if you're the term koine, right? Koine with a accent sometimes. That's a linguistic term in English. So Greek people will wince a little bit when you say the word koine because they know what you mean by that. But for them, the term is kini, right?
Okay.
Not kine, but kini, because they don't
Kini.
extend that. The for them that the last letter is ita. Now you will hear certain people who because we're going to go over these different systems, right? There's a buffet of options, and there are people who will say kune,
Hmm.
kune, because they are targeting a phase of the development of the pronunciation where the diphthong oi became u, where it's basically e, like it basically became indistinguishable from upsilon or epsilon, right?
Okay.
So basically you can say koine, you can say kune, you can say kini, but for our purposes, we say kini, but you would never really catch me saying something like, "Oh, I'm reading it in the original Kini Greek," right? Like because it's not, like then I'm mixing like Greek and English. So like the English term for that dialect is Koine. So it is, you can say
Okay.
Koine. It's not like offending anyone. It's just a question of like there are certain times in this video where you say, well, but in the Koine or in Koine it would be this, and you have to ask yourself, well, is it different in Attic? If it's the same thing
Right.
in Attic as it is in Koine as it is in modern, if it's just been the same thing for 2,000 years, a specific word, then is it really that? Is it coherent, or is it even helpful to describe it as Koine, right? Like that's a
Right.
question, an open question. There are times where it is, because there are times where you're reading Hellenistic grammarians and they refer to, the Attic way of saying something and then the Koine way of saying, or the Kini, or they'll say kinos as an adjective. I mean, sorry, as an adverb with an
Interesting.
omega, right? Where you're going to say
Okay.
this in the common way. But you have to just keep in mind that to a Greek person, to a Greek speaker, right, or to somebody who knows Greek, when they hear that word, they're thinking common.
Yeah.
Now, in linguistic terms, when we say a koine, we mean the leveling off of different dialects, right? Merging of dialects.
Yeah.
American English also has a koine aspect to it, right? Because people speaking different dialects of English settled in different parts of the United States, and they kind of merged, and we ended up with American English. So there is such a thing as the American koine, right? Or koineization, like the where multiple dialects merge into a koine. That's a process called koineization, and there it's
Yeah.
not really appropriate to apply modern Greek pronunciation to that. So that's an interesting point.
Uh, I just have it's probably a really dumb question. Is Koine where we get the term, we coined the phrase? from?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. But you know, I remember distinctly a long, long time ago before I learned anything. I remember seeing that term on like Wikipedia and thinking that it was probably pronounced coin. I didn't
Yes.
think I thought the E was silent, right? So like that just shows you, that's how much I knew before I started.
You're right.
Um,
Absolutely.
so let's go on.
I'm getting much, much more out of it by reading it in the Greek than I would
There you go.
ever
In the
get out of
Greek,
it in the
right?
English.
Not in the Koine.
So I'm going to do a video entitled "Why Should You Learn Koine Greek?" Probably the number one reason that I just realized
Why
today
should
is
you learn
because
Greek?
you understand the story so much better when you
True.
understand the original words that they were written in. Other things include Greek is a philologist's dream. I am a philologist. I just love parsing through the different languages that I've studied and analyzing the words that they use and kind of assessing where they came from and how they evolved over time and how they morphed over time and how they show up in English. I'm just obsessed with that. The
Yeah,
Greek
this is interesting.
is
So
basically the best case scenario for somebody that likes to
let me
contemplate
make this a
words. It
little
truly is.
faster.
It has one of the richest vocabularies of any language in the world. It's basically the language that philosophy was born in. It is a beast to contend with.
So the whole language thing. So this is interesting. Now, if you look, let me see if I can. Let me stop sharing for a second. I'm
Yeah.
gonna actually show you the TLG.
Okay.
Have you ever looked in have you ever played with the TLG?
No, no.
So
I'm a noob.
here, this is the TLG database,
Ancient
and
Forest language.
see if I can
Greek.
get this. So yeah, when you look at the this is the statistics page of the TLG database. And what
Okay.
you'll notice here is you can see these are all of their, the authors, the works, like the frequency of words, right? You can see that Lego is the most frequent word in the whole Greek language, right? It occurs a
Wow.
million times, right? Like this really,
Oh.
really cool data analysis. And what you can see is
Yeah.
that they've collected 11,000 documents, right?
Okay.
And in their entire corpus, and they have a total of 128 million words, right? So what you were looking at said 5 million words and 70 million word types from the Greek
Yeah,
City Times.
I know it's debated because it's word forms,
Well, yeah, it
yeah.
depends on how you define a word, but what they're defining as a word is basically like every single, instance of a group of letters with spaces in between. That adds up to 128 million in their database.
Wow.
But then that is broken down into 286,000 lemata, or I would say in Greek, I would say limata, right? Because this is an
Limit.
eta, right? An eta. But we say lemata, right? So, or
Yeah.
lemmas, if we're not going to use respect the Greek plural. So
Mhm.
you understand the difference between the 128 million and the 286,000?
Yeah. So would that be just like roots essentially, or core words? Would I
Yeah,
define it
yeah.
as maybe?
So you can see on the screen they have Lego, right? So
Yes.
Lego is what
To say.
I say, right?
I
But
say.
or to say, right? Sometimes we treat it like an infinitive, but it's not. So if
Yeah.
I were to say legis, like you say,
I say.
those are
Yeah.
two different words, quote unquote, the way they're defining word there, but it's one lemma,
Mhm.
right? Whereas
Okay.
logos there is the noun form that is related to it, but it's a separate lemma, right? And
Yes.
then
So
1.941. Sorry, go
could I
ahead.
could I just I
Yeah.
believe the pronunciation is logos.
Logos.
Log
Logos. Yeah.
logos.
I hear that a lot. Logos. So 1.9 million unique word forms would be counting those, logos, logu, logon, uh, logois, right? Like all of the different forms, like all the different spellings, they all add up into this 1.9 million. But then the total, but basically, if the word Lego occurs a million times, that's counted in this 128 million words, right?
Okay.
So like this one right here. So this 128 million means just like that's repeat the same word will occur over and over and over and over and over again, and that's going to be part of that 128 million words. The way they're, these are called
Right.
tokens. We would typically call these tokens in linguistics, right? Or
Right.
in lexicography. And then
Yeah.
lemata, lemmas, those are just the dictionary forms, right? That would be like the lexemes that you when you look it up in the dictionary, that's the form you see it in, and then 1.9 million word forms. So I don't know. So that's just a cool little detour. But back
Yes,
to
and
your video.
oh yeah, and I was just gonna throw in for those of you that have studied Spanish, that would be like saying, the verb hablar. Yo hablo. Hablo is
Mhm,
a different word.
exactly.
Hablas. Él habla. These are
Yeah.
all different words technically, but they're not. They all come from hablar. It's one word, but it just
Yeah.
takes different forms, and
Well,
that's
and then there were they're following the convention of using the infinitive hablar
yes,
as the dictionary form. So, but the lemma, hablar isn't necessarily a lemma. Lemma is just sort of like the category, that like the word grouping, right?
yes,
So what you had in the video though was 5 million words and 70 million word types. So
yeah.
I'm sure that's based on something. It just sounds extremely inflated. Um,
It's definitely inflated.
but yeah, words and million word types. Well, let's go on. Go on this. Oh, I guess what I was going to say is, don't let the big number intimidate you in terms of like, oh, I have all these word types and word forms I need to learn. I get this a lot from students where they will discover that like, oh, there's like all of these different moods. Like when you first see a big verb chart, you kind
Yeah,
of imagine like, so I have to learn all of these forms? Like,
no,
yes and no. It's like you have to learn to recognize them. You learn the pattern. You learn to apply the pattern, like, in the subjunctive mood, and then sometimes in the optative mood if you're in Attic Greek. But most of the time, people aren't using the obscure forms. And going through the TLG, it can kind of help you to see which forms are actually the ones that get a lot of traction and which ones are super rare. And some of them are just theoretical. We don't even have attestation of certain forms, right? We just know the pattern and we can apply the pattern to certain words.
And I just feel renewed with vigor and energy and excitement having just spent this year learning Greek. I just can't wait to keep doing it. It
Yes.
is the coolest language I've ever
Yes.
studied, like hands down. So
The
anyways,
energy is
I'm going to
great.
stop rambling, but huge shout out to Cross Bible. Huge shout out
Thank you
to Stephen
for the
Nelson. I will leave
shout
his
out.
YouTube channel as well as a link to the Cross Bible in the description below. Go check it out. He's a really smart kid, really knows his
I
stuff.
like being
He
called
had
a
the patience to
kid.
go through some of my videos and listen to my very crappy self-taught accent. So in the last episode, we kicked off Matthew chapter 2. It's kind of a lengthier one. I went through 10 verses. I'm starting to think maybe
Sorry, I'm just yeah. So
5 verses is better. So today we're going to go through 11 to 15. And I wrote them all out, as always, in my replica codex here. I am not only trying to learn the words, I'm trying to mimic the actions and the writing styles and what it would have been like to be a scribe 2,000 years ago. I'm doing full immersion. I want it all. I want to know what the ancient scribes, what they would have felt like writing this stuff out. One of the biggest problems I'm having so far is the e. So yeah, you have the standard e, which is the epsilon, and then you have the eta, the eta. And I hate to be critical because I love this language. I love Greek, but they make the same sound.
okay, so they don't make the same sound. But so what
yeah,
what were you what were you thinking here? Walk me through this.
yeah. So what I'm thinking is, I listen to a lot of those Greek Pod 101 long videos where they sort of go through tons of vocabulary
Mhm.
exposure, like 1,000 words, and whenever they show like the word, from what I remember, the eta and the epsilon seem to make the same sound.
Okay.
Uh, Now, this is me not paying super close attention, so I could definitely be wrong here. But when I see either of these letters, I say them the same way, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're looking in English, you can see that the transliteration has epsilon and eta, right? Like they look the same when we write them in English. Typically, the way that this will happen in transcription or transliteration is that the the letter e, the English letter e in eta will have like a what do you call it? Um, not a brev, a macron. They'll be macronized, right? It'll have a line on top of it indicating that it's an and not an right?
Okay.
And eta historically was the lengthened form, well, not even historically, even in modern times. It's the lengthened form of alpha and epsilon. So
Oh,
it's sort of like it's a form that emerges from either the lengthening of alpha, where the becomes like an or something like that, and the becomes
okay.
an and it just sort of gets this double time, and then it morphologically turns more into an a. Now
Okay.
one of the things that like Erasmian pronunciation tends to handle this as like a. So like they'll just say play. It'll just sound just like play. Play is a diphthong. So
Okay.
we are combining e and e to sort of like in one vowel, like a, right? A. And that
Yeah.
tends to be how eta is pronounced, right? So alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon, zeta, eta, theta, right? Eta. That's the way, I learned it in high school, right? So
Okay.
but it's in modern Greek, they are much harder, they're much easier to distinguish. One is e and the other is e. Okay, so
Interesting.
the eta is of the from the product the result of Yodicism, right, or iticism, right, like the process of all of these vowels coalescing to an e sound in modern Greek.
Yes.
And so the reason why I
Yes.
thought it would be fun to document this is like you're in a transitional period right now, right?
Right.
You started out with
Right.
a pronunciation that you learned in Greek. Well, you couldn't have learned it in Greek Pod 101. I don't know where did you pick up your pronunciation habit?
Yeah, it was Greek Pod 101.
But they
Just
teach modern Greek.
right.
Okay.
And so where I think the confusion is coming from is I'm using the old Erasmian pronunciation, so I'll say like ho instead of o, but then I'm taking on habits from modern Greek, and it probably sounds really awkward.
But where did you pick it? Where did you pick up Erasmian?
Just on the internet, hearing like
Okay.
Wes Huff talk, in
right.
the limited amount he has, and then I've just I've gathered information from such a myriad of sources. Greek Pod 101 is one of them, but then I really like the
Sorry, I
oh, it's okay.
refreshed my account.
I really like that lady, the professor with the bow tie.
Yeah, did I introduce you to that, or did you find it?
You did 100%.
Oh, okay.
That was all you. The other guy, the Raphael guy, he's like too intense for me at this point.
Mm-hmm.
The professor with the bow tie, her, like when she speaks, I could actually understand about 30% of it when she's speaking, because she's so clear, and her Greek is so relatable. Whereas the other guy, the Raphael, I'm listening to
Father
him.
Raphael.
Yeah, Father Raphael.
Yeah, Anton Tassos, I think is his real name.
Yes. He was.
You can slow that down, by the way. You can adjust it to like 1.5 speed.
Okay,
or like
good,
what?
yeah.
Sorry, well, like negative 1.5 speed. You can slow it, or like half speed, 0.5.
Right. But most of like my pronunciation's coming from stuff like this.
Oh, she's great. Yeah, she's great.
Yeah,
Well, and
she's
that's
really
and that's the thing. So, I guess to segue here, just to segue, I began learning like let me remove this for a second. So like I started with Spanish pronunciation when I was in let's see, let me just pull up a little sheet. Okay, so this is our Greek class. So like when I started studying Spanish, I was learning from a woman who was she was Spanish. She was from Spain, right? And
okay.
so for me, I was learning things like, cinco veces, right?
Ooh.
So here you have like the thea, right? Like this is pronounced the
Mm-hmm.
in Iberian, right? Like Spanish, peninsular, like whatever Spanish. And in Latin America, that doesn't work, right? But the cool thing about it is like, like the underlying form here is veth, right? Una
Yes.
vez, right? And then it turns into C. And so what's interesting is that, and this isn't very big, what's interesting is that in Spain, kids do not mess this up. Like when kids are learning to spell, because they have a separate phoneme for the thea, right? Because they have they're not going to do this, right? Kids in Latin America are going to do that, right?
Yes, they will.
Because for them, they just can't distinguish this. So it's like their teacher needs to go in and redline this and correct it to say, no, this is a se, right? And it's not S. And
Correct.
And for
Yes.
me, I realized at one point that like, you know, it was convenient for me to learn how to pronounce Spanish that way. It would be
Right.
great if like if there were some remote island where like they used Thethea and they also pronounced all of the H's that dropped out of the language. So like they said hora, for example, instead of ora, you know, like if that
Yeah.
existed, and the same applies to Greek. Like if there were a dialect of Greek where those aspirations were actually pronounced by native speakers, like, you know, send me to that island. I want to learn Spanish on that island, right? Like it would be
Right.
great to just, it would be very convenient to learn a form of the language where the spelling maps on to the pronunciation on a one-to-one basis, right?
Where it matches.
Because yeah, because otherwise you're stuck in this situation where it's like this looks, I mean, it sounds good, but then you
Yeah.
mess it up, you spell it wrong.
Right.
And so there is like an academic convenience of taking your very first Spanish class with someone from Spain and learning to pronounce things that way, so then you can differentiate the spelling. Now, I eventually realized that when, like, I was getting reactions when I moved to like Southern California and I was using my Spanish with Thea, that people just sort of either thought I was from Spain or they thought I was like really, like it sounds pompous to their ears, or that sounds like funny, like I got some laughs, and it's
Right.
just like, you know, and like if I were living in Spain, it would be different, you know, like when in Rome.
Right.
But I
Right.
I had to pivot. I pivoted like after a whole year of doing this whole Thethea thing and like learning and actually learning to spell from it, learning to spell correctly, and then, you know, being struck by spelling mistakes where people, you really don't know the difference. Like, no, you know, I had to
Right.
change my pronunciation midstream. So
Yes.
the good thing is I don't think your habit is so ingrained that like it's
No,
not
it's not.
it's not going to be that hard for me to pull you in this direction. Um,
Right.
but you what you're going to notice, and this is the funny thing that I was amused by today, is, hold on a second, let me pull it out. Okay, so if I pull it out of this view, we get into this. Where are the comments? Okay, yeah. So you see the comments. Oh wait, I got to pull this up. All right. So what's my comment?
Bravo,
Bravo.
Evke. Yeah, bravo, Evke.
Ev,
Thanks for the
Ev,
shout.
it's Evge, right?
Evke. Sorry,
Now
I
it
didn't mean
could
to
be
say.
Euge, right? Euge.
Yes.
But I say Evge, right? That was the whole joke where we say, we don't say gay, right? What the gamma epsilon says yeah, yeah.
Right. We
Thanks for the
never
shout
say
out.
gay.
Now, what you got here immediately from Mr. Brown, sorry to
Yeah.
dox whoever that is, but a couple of suggestions from someone who has been down this road. So that's curious, but down this road. Check out
Hmm.
Benjamin Cantor's work on accurate Koine pronunciation. Accurate. And by the way, those books have right here. So there's the big volume and the little volume, right? These are definitely good books by Benjamin Cantor.
Nice.
So highly
Wow.
recommend. So using modern Greek pronunciation will throw you a few curves. For example, pronouncing humon and hemon identically, although the meaning is opposite. Avoid
Hmm.
tools, apps, parsers, interlinears, readers' editions like the plague. Can't say I agree with that completely, but I get it. And spend about 6 months drilling on paradigms and vocabulary. We
Okay.
are not going to be spending 6 months drilling paradigms and vocabulary.
Okay.
But that is a thing, right? So the tools are really handy, but they keep you from internalizing what you need to read independently, and that's true. You don't want to have these crutches, right? You don't want to be over reliant on tools. And then the
Mhm.
goal is to pick up a text and read directly from it, or to go to the Center of New Testament. What is it? The
Manuscripts.
manuscripts. Wait, CS. Can't remember what that. Center of the Study of New Testament Manuscripts. There we go. Yeah.
That's right. Yes.
Okay. I guessed it before I pulled it up. Yeah, go there and pull up a high-res image of an ancient or medieval manuscript and read it. Again, I'm not convinced that's fun. It's great. It's not
Yes.
necessarily like advice to beginners. Nice channel. So like, I'm not ridiculing what this person's saying. It's just interesting that like right out the gate, you're getting people basically. The undertone here is like, don't learn Greek from Stephen Nelson, right? That's the
Oh,
lesson for them.
really? That wasn't my takeaway. My
Well, that
takeaway was
well, I mean, look, I'm teaching you modern Greek pronunciation. He's advising you not to do it. So the
yeah,
funny thing is that when you first get into this and you start doing it, like this is like considered like dark arts in these circles, right? Like this is like anathema to a lot of
right.
people. Now, I would say 10 years ago, that sentiment online was much, much stronger. So like
Okay.
10 years ago, there weren't all of these forums and places, and I was on like Reddit, and Reddit was like
Oh,
it was a real challenge to deal with people on Reddit. When you're asking like, hey, I'm just getting started. Sorry, what I'm just getting started, and like what what pronunciation should I use? Like all these other
yeah.
weird pronunciation systems just don't work for me. And like, and people be like, well, whatever you do, avoid modern Greek like the plague. And
Really?
so, yeah. And so you then got a comment from Learn Biblical Greek 316, which is saying, pointing out that these two words, emis and emis, are pronounced the same using modern Greek pronunciation. However, homophones are found in many languages. In most cases, the context will indicate the meaning. In addition, the form of the verb will tell you whether it is first person or second person plural. Emis as men. Have you seen this comment, by the way?
I haven't. I'm reading it for the first time.
Okay, yeah. We are so yeah. Emis as men, we are, and emis este you are. Now, a lot of the time,
Okay.
what this person isn't mentioning is that you actually don't even have those pronouns to begin with. You just have the conjugated verb forms, right? You'll just see as men. So once
Right.
you have as men in the picture, you don't really need emis, right?
Right.
And once you have este in the picture as well, you don't really need emis with epsilon. Now, the
Right.
way that the Greeks identify the difference, they'll say emis me ita, emis me epsilon, right? Like
Okay.
emis with the ita, and they call it ita, or emis with the epsilon, they call it epsilon. And
Okay.
so basically, like this is a very considerate, like long-winded response to the initial commenter to say like, no, modern Greek's not that bad. Like I couldn't have said it better myself. This is all very, very accurate, right? And then
Right.
modern Greek has these new pronouns, and then I said, I mean, spot on, right? Um,
Right.
and I'm familiar with this guy's content. Like he produces content that advocates for modern Greek pronunciation and also the study of modern Greek as a kind of bridge to learning ancient Greek.
Right.
And,
Right. And
and so
I
that's
agree.
that's the approach.
There is a generational wisdom contained within modern Greek that you can't convince me that the way they pronounce things now is inaccurate. I believe there are so many fossils embedded in the modern pronunciation that we can reconstruct the old pronunciation based on the modern pronunciation. And I hate Erasmian so much. I hate it. It is
Well, I don't know. I mean, it depends on what you mean by accurate. Like I don't know what kind of accuracy you were trying to, like in terms of accurately distinguishing between emis and emis. No, it's not accurate. It is
right, not
inaccurately,
accurate. Right.
it is,
It's
but
it's gonna confuse people. Yeah.
yes, but the thing is that modern Greek in and of itself confuses people. English confuses people. Like when I say
Yeah.
bear and you don't know what it's like, what do you mean, BARE or BEAR? We also have E. We have like different vowel combinations that say E, and those create homophones and uh, ambiguity that we need more context to work out. It's just that
Right.
if you're in your little bubble, like if I were in a little bubble in my college Spanish class and never actually walked out onto the street to speak Spanish with real people from Mexico, which is
Yeah.
typically who I was speaking with, like I would have never had any impetus to change over and stop using my Thethea Spanish pronunciation, right? And
Right. Right. And let me interject for a minute. Like when I met my ex, with whom I have my oldest daughter, um, my ex was born in Puerto Rico, and her and I, like when I met her, I had 2 years of high school Spanish, and I'd say to her, "Cómo estás?" And she's like, "Cómo está?"
Yeah.
Because they drop the S at the end. And the other thing is, "Cómo te llama?" "Cómo, cómo te llama usted?" The double L is pronounced as a J in Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
Now, this to me
Jismo.
just yes, exactly. And I brought this to her attention. She didn't even realize she was skipping over her S's at the end of a word. Like, to her, it was so natural. Que
Well,
hora?
they don't. Yeah, they don't
Que hora?
necessarily. It's not
What time is it?
just skipping. Yeah, it's like, but they have a glottal stop that they insert though. It's not
Right.
exactly. It's not just a dropped S. It's like a special kind of.
Yeah, it's there. They sort of exasperate it. Que hora?
Yeah.
With an
Yeah.
H at the end. And then sometimes when they're really emotional, they'll pronounce their J as a H, which is really interesting when that happens. Like jamás, like never. But normally when they're not emotional, they'll say jamás, never. But when they get emotional, there's a H that suddenly appears out of nowhere, and
Mm.
there's just all these little nuances that come to the surface when you're interacting with a native. And there were so many surprises when I started learning real street Puerto Rican, and that's probably the Spanish I'm the most comfortable with right now. But I appreciate Spanish in all of its forms, but there's a continuum at work here.
Yeah.
Regions develop their own habits, and these habits sort of evolve into larger patterns. And that's the thing to understand. You have to get an instinct for that sort of thing. And so when it comes to the Greek, yes, I'm very new at it, but I'm very excited about learning about all of it because it is such a deep, rich language. So, anyways,
Well, I don't want to tear you apart too much on this because like yeah, so the epsilon eta thing that was just a mistake.
yeah,
You mentioned this part about B, right?
They do the M followed by the pi. So
Yeah.
bira. So it's M, pi, and together it makes the plosive b.
Yeah, they do that, but there's also it depends. It can be buh, and
mhm,
typically if there's a foreign loan word, we'll go over this a little bit, but it can also be mba. Mba.
mba,
What it isn't is it's not mpa, right? Because
right,
once your vocal cords start vibrating on the M sound,
hmm
that P it doesn't stop for the P. It just the P gets infected by the voicing. And
okay,
it becomes a B because those are allophones. It's like pba, right?
right,
But that is rarely going to come up in the reading of an ancient Greek text. Like ancient Greek texts typically
never,
like, I mean, no,
right,
it will in certain cases where it's like en, like n, the prefix n can turn into m before a p, or like the term I send, pempo, right?
tempo,
So that will sound like pembo in modern Greek, but not pebo,
right,
right?
okay, yes.
So
I know, I
so there
noticed.
is some
Oh,
nuance there.
right, and I noticed this with your speech patterns that I really picked up on was when there's an NT, you you in particular always roll it into a D sound. Duh. When there's that NT
But
combination.
yeah, but yes, it always the T becomes the duh. But
Yes.
it's a question of do you still hear the N before it, or does the N completely disappear? And sometimes it does, right?
Sometimes it
Um,
does. Yeah.
yeah, so you have to discern when it's a lot of the time when it's a foreign loan word that is supposed to represent a B sound or a D sound from a foreign language in modern Greek, then
Mhm.
you won't pronounce it mba and nda. It'll just be
Yeah.
ba and da, right?
Okay.
But the
Interesting.
note that you're giving here, you're giving a note regarding Greek pronunciation, but this is sort of applicable mostly to modern Greek. It doesn't apply as much in ancient Greek. So that's a note.
Absolutely.
And then so I guess we were going over. So you're showing your like iPad or like what do you stream your? How are you getting
iPhone.
this? So that's your
I
iPhone on the
screenshot.
screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
in you were before when we were looking at Cross Bible on your computer, you had you were using an older browser that wasn't
Yeah.
able to display the text very well. But I was just going to show real quick that you do have the option. So like, I think, well, okay, this is dark mode. It's a little, I think what I would probably do, so like I would go over into my settings and maybe like do a sepia theme in light mode. Yeah. So like,
There we go.
yeah, I
Looking
mean, you
good.
can do, yeah, but I like this because it really highlights the text. There's some incompatibility right now between dark mode and light mode with when there are themes. So like the dark mode, so like I have the sepia theme applied, but in dark mode the contrast isn't great. But in light mode it is. So this is what I like to do when I'm like doing on-screen reading, and you can do this in your phone too.
Hmm.
But I guess you just prefer to have the two columns of text.
Yeah, that's just my thing. I like seeing them side by side.
Okay. And then so let's see. Let's not harp too much on your video. Let me bring up.
No, we could harp on it. Give
Well,
me all
okay, what
give
I
me all the
wanted.
criticism.
Yeah, what I want to do is show you this though, because it's kind of like. Hold on a second. Okay. Can you see this?
Yes.
All right. So this is going to be the
What up?
material. I'll hide this sidebar. Okay. Hide sidebar. All right. So we're going to start with this material when we go through the textbook, which is the textbook is called Epikinoniste Rinika, so communicating Greek.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
so the writing practice homework is here, right? And so the idea here is just to really get comfortable writing the standard letter forms, right, on each line.
Yes.
So I would, if I could show you my binders, what I do is I print these out, 3-hole punch, 1.5-inch binder, make a binder per book, and combine the workbook exercises with some of the book material, like all the PDFs that I provide. So print those out and just write every letter to the end of the line, and then you can see that it's like these are really like nice, clean writing convention letters, but there are alternatives, right? So like you can pick, if you want your sort of fish symbol alpha, right? I like the fish symbol alpha, or you can just do it like a
Oh, yeah.
regular A. Some people do this sort of above the line beta, right? Like I like the sort of cursive B Vita. Epsilon, I kind of like this backwards 3 epsilon. Some people do the sort of like minuscule style, like Byzantine style epsilon. Lots of different ways to do Z, including just a regular Z shape.
I hate that letter so much.
It
I
gives you
hate it.
like I think I probably tend to do the one that's on this one right here.
Okay.
And then the theta, I kind of like this the.
Hmm.
This is super annoying, the kappa. I usually do a straight back kappa, but you will see people writing kappas like this, and it looks like a U, but it's actually a kappa.
Hmm.
And then your x, I tend to do this one on the right. I played with this P, this kind of Byzantine minuscule style P for a long time. I eventually settled on the regular P, but I liked this one for a while. It's just kind of, it's I don't know, it's fun.
It is.
The taf where it just sort of looks like a squiggle can be annoying, but people do write like that. Deciphering Greek handwriting is a separate task, right? I mean, one trick though, if you ever have to decipher Greek handwriting, is just snap a picture with your phone, and ChatGPT can decipher it extremely well. For like, I've been surprised at how well it can decipher really like chicken scratch Greek handwriting, or even ornate, like really ornate Greek handwriting can be very hard to read.
Right.
And then I've been told by multiple Greek people that this psi over here nobody ever uses, but maybe there was like a generation that went to school that used it. Like people in the comments may say, like, I don't know, I always write psi like that. I kind of, it's nice because I mean you can see that it's an attempt to have it connect through cursive to the next letter, right?
Yeah.
And then these are, so then it has the capital letters, and then the alternative capital letters over here, right? You can see like this weird capital gamma, I kind of like the cursive delta, but you can do just like the triangular delta, the different like forms of kappa, the omega with the line underneath versus like this kind of unconnected omega, and then the xi can be like that where you're connecting the lines, and so those are fun. And
I've
then
never seen some of these. This is interesting.
yeah, so you know, you can kind of like customize your own handwriting, you know, like I think handwriting is really important to do like handwritten exercises because there's this sort of tactile element of like using your brain and connecting the dots with the, you know, with the motion of your hand. It's
Yeah,
you know, like I think typing is also really important. Typing in Greek, writing in Greek, like you need to do both. Like it's like the hand-eye coordination cements a lot in your brain a lot more effectively than if you're like, you know, not if you're only doing one or if you're doing none. Like if you're not typing or writing, you're missing out on like a whole aspect of language acquisition if you're not forcing yourself to do
yeah.
that.
No, you're right. You're right. I'm writing in mostly all minuscule when I do these Matthew passages,
Okay.
and it probably looks terrible, but
That's fine. But I would encourage you to like try to hone your handwriting based on the standard they give in this book. I think it's a pretty good standard to follow. Now,
yeah,
what you're going to notice here is like, okay, well, give me your best rendition of the alphabet.
like read
Read it, yeah.
each letter.
Yeah.
Okay. Alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon, zeta, eta, theta, iota. Sorry.
Well, do it
Kappa.
from memory. You know, you don't have to. Yeah.
Okay. Iota, kappa, lambda, mi, ni, xi, omicron, pi, rho, sigma, tau, upsilon, phi, chi, psi, omega.
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 Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's it's a smooth breathing on omega, so it wouldn't even be ho in ancient Greek.
Okay, good.
So rather than dwell on that, let's just keep going. There's some, we'll do this more. We'll cover this on Saturday in the group class.
Okay.
And then you have like a little reading practice to apply it. But let's skip down to just the actual, right? Like, so what does this blue text say at the top?
Isarorico mathema.
What does it mean?
Sorry. Isarorico mathema. Something student study.
No. So mathema means lesson.
Okay.
So is the prefix that means into, right?
Yes.
Ago is to lead, right?
Okay.
So it's isagohiko. So this g says a g sound and this is a yi, right? So isagohiko mathema is an introductory lesson, right? And
Okay.
then you have
What's the rico mean at the end?
this is a suffix. This is an adjectival suffix. So it's ago, but agoyiko, like is agoyiko, or isagoyikos in the masculine.
Yeah.
It's just tacking an adjectival suffix onto the root ago. A lot of
Okay.
words are derived from that ago, right? That like to lead. So this is leading into, right? Isagoyiko.
Gotcha. Okay.
Introductory, right? I think
Okay.
like introducir, right? Like it's to introducir, like to introduce.
Yeah.
Introduzco. Yeah. So
Yeah.
profora. Profora is pronunciation. And here they're giving you like I have the edition of this book that has mostly Greek terminology. It
Okay.
is a very distinct advantage to utilize grammatical jargon and you know terminology in Greek and decouple yourself from the English. We still use the English, like you know, I know, like you know, I try to master both systems. I learned that pretty early on in Russian. So when I learned Russian, I learned all the grammatical terminology in English. Then I went to Russia, and when I was studying with my teacher in Russia, I had to relearn everything in Russian. Um,
Well,
and then in college, I kind of got the best of both worlds. But you definitely if you can, if you are tethered to the English grammatical terminology, even no, you know, no matter how good you get in Greek, it's a crutch, right? Whereas like if you can
yeah.
get yourself off of it, you can sort of start to reprogram your brain entirely in Greek, right? Where where you recognize where you can take a Greek textbook teaching Greek grammar that's written to a Greek person and read that and not have to rely on like, well, what is that like? Is that the subjunctive, or like you don't you're not tied to your, because these aren't English terms anyway. It's like you think of I prefer the grammatical terms in English. Those aren't English terms. Those are Latin terms. Most of them are all coming from Latin anyway. So you're just, even if you're using it in quote unquote English, it's still not, we don't have native English grammatical terminology anyway, for the most part.
True.
Right?
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, absolutely.
It's a blend. It's a blend of English and Latin and whatever. And some of it comes from Greek too. So we have here the apla ke dipsifa phonienda, right? The simple, and then the 2-letter, the dipsifa, right? That's cool. Phonienda.
Phonienda. Yes.
Yeah. So phonienda are the vowels, right? And why are they called phonienda? Phonien is the singular.
Phonetics.
Well, what is phony?
Sound.
And what is vowel?
Vowel, I don't know.
Well, what is vocal?
Vocal.
Right? It's your voice, right? So a phony can mean sound, but
Yes.
really what they mean is it's the sounds that you pronounce when your mouth is open, right? Like you're vocalizing, right? So you're using you're letting your voice come through, and you're not obstructing the sound that's coming out of your mouth. So this is funny. So they say that the alpha is the as in rather. Now, what's the problem here?
The alpha, A is in rather.
Yeah.
Apla. Apla is a different sound than ah.
But why does it say that it's pronounced as in the A is in rather?
Pali, I don't know.
Well, how is it pronounced?
Right.
And so why is it giving rather as the word?
That's a good question. Yeah, and are different.
So, okay, so the answer is it's because they're Europeans.
Oh.
And because they don't care that you and I say rather.
Yeah.
For them, it's rather.
Rather.
Right? So it's father. They say father and rather with the same vowel, right? Like, so it's just a kind of funny thing. So, so the word they give, the example is
Pali.
Pali. Now, what does Pali mean?
No idea.
Pali means again. And again.
Okay.
And guess what it is in ancient Greek?
Oh, well, if I didn't know what it meant in modern Greek, I have less of a chance of guessing the meaning in ancient Greek.
Well, you don't have to guess because it's the same meaning.
Oh.
It means again, but in ancient Greek it has an N at the end of it, so it would be palin.
Okay, palin. I've seen that. Yes, palin.
So not palin, palin. Because the stress is on the first syllable. So you just learned a new word, not in Koine Greek, but in just Greek in general, right? This is a general Greek word. Now, in the modern form, the N is dropped off. And you will see that this is a pattern that the Greeks just stopped pronouncing. It's sort of like that Mahomenos kind of Mahomeno Puerto Rican, like Caribbean Spanish. They dropped the S. The Greeks eventually just dropped their N's, right? And
interesting.
Now they restore the N's when they want to sound fancy, when they want to sound ecclesiastical, so that you will hear something like palin in a church setting, or like if you like get the liturgical schedule for like Easter week or something like that. If I showed it to you, like you'll see just like it's like practically ancient Greek. It's kathareusa. So there you will see stylistically the restoration of these N's at the ends of words, but really it's just modern Greek doesn't have it. Now, now here you get right off the bat, it's just kicking you like it's e, right? E, right? Now go through these words.
Milo, T, poli, ikosi. What?
It's not poli.
Poli.
Yeah. Well, poli would be a different word, right? That would be like city, right? So
Right.
so so when you are in a version of Greek, this modern version where you all of these vowels make the same sound, the last thing you want to do is miss a stress mark, because then it makes it even harder to tell these words apart, right? It's
You're
like
right.
where the stress becomes really innate, like a very, very important system, right?
You're right. And that's one thing I really picked up from Greek Pod 101 is they, I see the word, how it's spelled, and I would intuitively pronounce it a certain way, but then they pronounce it with like a huge stress on a certain syllable, and I'm like,
Well,
that's so different.
yeah. So this kind of word, poli, poli is called oxytone, right?
Okay.
Oxytono. And that means that the stress is on the final syllable. Now, when the stress is like the word milo, which, how would you say that? So what does milo mean?
Milo. I don't know.
It means apple.
That's
And
right. Okay. I
yeah,
should
yeah.
have known.
And how would you say it in ancient Greek?
Oh,
You
no
just got to
idea.
guess. You just got to guess.
Milo.
You would no, you would put an N at the end of it. The same
Oh,
thing with pali, right?
Milon.
Yeah, milon, right?
Milon.
So
Melon.
melon, exactly. That's where we get our
Oh,
word melon, right?
uh,
So you're just the way to sort of convert ancient Greek to modern Greek in these with these neuter nouns especially is you just chop the N off and then it sounds modern, right?
okay.
And
Got it.
this is again why it's like people are it's odd that people discount the value of modern Greek sometimes, because there are times where it's just like, man, you just need to tweak the knob a little bit and you're already like 2000 years later. You're just dropping off the ends, right? So then you have, so what is this word right here?
T.
T,
It
which
means
means
what?
what? Yeah. Now
I got
the if this were ancient Greek, that would actually mean some. It would be enclitic because it doesn't have a stress mark. So that
interesting.
so if you were to say milonti, milonti, that would be some apple or some fruit, right? Um,
Okay.
and so the fact that the reason it doesn't have an acute accent on it in modern Greek is because modern Greek, since the 1980s, since the spelling reform, has adopted the monotonic system. So they only do like
Okay.
one, they only write one acute accent on the word on the stressed syllable if there's more than one syllable, unless there's a few exceptions to this, like monosyllabic words that have two forms, like e and e. One of them is or, and the other one is like the definite article. But
Okay.
with exceptions, the word t is simply doesn't get that stress mark. When it does get the stress mark, sometimes, depending on which version of the spelling system you're using, is when it's an interrogatory, like what? Like, what are you doing? But for the most part, in standard modern Greek, this T is just not going to get stressed.
Okay.
But in ancient Greek, if we were writing this in ancient Greek, you would have at the top of the list, you would have palin, then you would have
Mhm.
milon, then you would have T with the stress mark, right? Because we would be writing and all of this would change. Like milon would be written with a circumflex accent. And so one of the advantages of having this easy entry point of modern Greek, even if you're applying it just the pronunciation system to ancient Greek, is that when you're gonna start spelling and writing and typing and doing things and exercises, you're not going to be burdened with the polytonic spelling system. Now, I have students that I teach ancient Greek who want to bypass modern Greek altogether. And this is the plug for
Interesting.
my tutoring services. So I do
Yeah.
have some students that just want to avoid modern Greek like the plague. They've that for whatever reason, right? Like sometimes it's just a stigma, sometimes it's just because they're really passionate about classical Greek and that's what they want. And
Yeah.
then I still with those students I will tend to just sort of use monotonic Greek as an entry point, because otherwise you're burdening beginning students with polytonic Greek. The polytonic spelling rules, I learned them right off the bat. I just found them very interesting. It was a kind of nerdy thing for me to memorize all the different circumstances where you use this accent as opposed to another one. I have most of it down pretty well, and maybe I'd make a mistake every once in a while, but for the most part, I'm pretty good. I'm like, I could be like a Nazi about polytonic accent. I did that for a while. Like when I first learned modern Greek, I wrote everything in polytonic script.
Really?
I would write even text messages to people in polytonic script in modern Greek.
Wow.
And I remember I got some weird reactions, like, why, like, what are you doing, dude? Like, this isn't like, I just was like quizzing myself on it, basically. So, the long story short, has no accent, right? Then you have poli, right? Which is, not polu, but poli. What does that mean?
Poli. Many
or great, right? Or a lot.
A lot.
And what would it be in ancient Greek?
Poli. I don't know.
Same thing.
Okay,
No difference,
good.
Right? And then what's this word right here?
Ikosi. That means 20, right?
Yeah. And what is it in ancient Greek?
Oh no.
It's the same. No difference, right?
Really? Okay, good.
Yeah. And then this last one?
Misi,
right? Which is like half. But in the masculine plural, like that ending is masculine plural. So what they're showing you is that these are all these different letters that say E, and they look different. Now,
yes.
There is a perspective on this. Like, you had these dual comments right under your video. So the first commenter, he said he'd been down this road. Now I question how far down the road you've actually been. But I think what people mean by going down the road is that the first time they encounter this, it's such a turnoff that they just immediately withdraw, right? Like this is the point of no return. Once you get we're on the second example. Like you've dropped into this modern Greek textbook, you're immediately getting into the pronunciation lesson. Okay, how do I pronounce these weird squiggly lines? And it's like milo ti poli ikosi misi. What is going on? This is where you quit, right?
Right. This is where everybody quits.
Yeah, but once you get past that and you just realize that, okay, the burden on me as a speaker is just to pronounce one sound. I don't need to worry about whether or not my A in Malo, whether or not this A is maybe like a little too diphthongy. You'll see people online, like I'll drop like the name Luke Ranieri, right? Like he's great. I love Luke. I have an invitation to join him for a discussion on this topic at some point on the Scorpio Martianis channel. But he's so busy and he's producing a lot of content, and I don't know when that's going to happen. So far, tentatively scheduled for January. And so, but he would be the one to say like, well, it's not like a diphthong, it's a, right? It's like a long a sound. And then some people make it sound a bit more like a long like or ah or ah. It's like there are all these different nuances of how to do it, like quote unquote correctly in the classical style or in this and that. Like I just say E, right? Like for me, it's just like I don't have the burden of like, well, like is that a real like true 5th century Attic like eta? Are you lengthening it properly? Do you have the phonemic vowel, and like or if it has a circumflex accent, is it melo? Sorry, that O was way too long. You can get so obsessed with the nitpicky of it all, of just like, okay, but if you're going to get in that time machine and you're going to go back into this place and time and speak with people, you got to be prepared for that time machine. I'm not preparing for the time machine, right? I just don't. I care to the extent that like, Sidney Allen, Vox Greca, like I got this dog-eared, right? This is like a great book. I love it on like a theoretical level. I'll practice reciting ancient Greek with like, this is like this is the manual for restored classical pronunciation. It's just not useful for me, for my purposes of just wanting to read extremely fast and fluently, and then take that knowledge and transfer it into modern Greek as well. Reading my kid bedtime stories, like I just can't obsess about lip rounding and is it polu or is it like polu? or like, I mean, at one point, yeah, the cows in Greece at one point said mu with just an epsilon. They could not have said me, right? But nowadays
Right.
they do say, like, mikate, right? Like he is like mooing, or that would
Okay.
be like the way it would be in like ancient Greek. In modern Greek they say muganizi. So they've adjusted it, so now it's the omicron epsilon variety of u.
Okay.
But this letter typically, like historically, this would have been pronounced like an E with the lips
Mhm.
rounded, so it would sound like E E E E E. It's not oo.
Interesting.
It's not oo.
No.
So it's not nukes. It's like nukes. But again, it's
Okay.
like the nuances. Like for me, I've just like I am unburdened by all of these conventions, right? There are all these conventions, there are all these expectations that are put on me as a
Mhm.
beginning Greek student to be like, that's not classical enough, or that's not, like you should go, get Benjamin Cantor's book. The irony about the guy recommending in that comment that you get Benjamin Cantor's book is
Yeah.
like, I mean, he says, like, anecdotally, many students, this is page 117 in fluent reading, chapter 5
Mhm.
4, it quote unquote, it just sounds more like a real language. This is Benjamin Cantor's book.
Okay.
Anecdotally, many students of New Testament Greek who adopted Neo-Hellenic or Koine Greek pronunciation system notice an immediate impact in their reading experience. It becomes more natural and fluent. It just sounds more like a real language, they say.
Mhm.
He's saying, like, by the time you get to the end of this book, you realize that, Ben is 100% on point. It's like
Yeah.
he is recommending, the book is all about how was the Bible pronounced in first century Palestine? Like, how would the authors have read their own text or their original
Right.
recipients? If they're, like he's focusing, he's doing a really, really thorough analysis and reconstruction of that era of Greek in that place and time. But he
Yeah.
basically says, like, or alternatively, you can just use what he calls Neo-Hellenic, which is modern Greek.
Right. Right. Definitely. And if I could just say,
Yep.
like, so I went through the basic Arabic course at DLI. By the time we finished, none of us were pronouncing any of the Arabic like you're pronouncing your Greek to the level of accuracy. Like it was gringo Arabic. And then even by the time that I got to my first refresher training, I was trying to read Arabic quickly, a native Arab would. I was the only one in the class of 20 that could do it. Everybody else is al usted
Well,
ذهب
I
ila
did that. I recall distinctly my first experience with foreign language was going on a mission to Mexico, and we were
yeah.
like building houses and stuff. It was with a Baptist church, and we went like it was in Oklahoma, and we went to Texas, and we went over to Monterrey, Mexico, and we had to
Oh, cool.
learn Spanish. And I remember joking about it. I just didn't take it very seriously, and we
Yeah.
learned things like, todos somos pecadores. I would say like todos somos pecadores, and I talked like that because I thought it was funny.
Right. Right.
And
Definitely.
but then I
But that's how
realized,
most gringos speak, is like that. You know.
well, in the first Greek course that I took online, because I didn't have a teacher, it was self-taught, but I was taking online, like I took an online course that's on the
Yeah.
Great Courses. It's called Greek 101. It's taught by I have to remember the name of the teacher. Greek 101. Wait, Greek 101 Great Courses. He's great. It's a great course. It's called the Great Courses, and it's taught by what is the name of this teacher? So let's see, Professor Hans Friedrich Muller.
Okay.
And so he starts every video by saying Hyretai math or yeah,
It sounds
Hyretai
terrible.
mathetai tes calais glosses tes Hellenicase. And that's exactly what but he does it intentionally because he feels that this is this uh this entry point, hyrete mathetai.
Yeah.
It's like this entry point for his students to like, don't worry about pronunciation. Like if you can't roll your R, just forget about it. Just say R. Like it
Yeah.
just
Yes.
bring the language to you, because
Mhm.
there are no native speakers whose ears you will offend with your gringo pronunciation or your Yankee pronunciation. But they're like kind
I'm
of
offended by Kairatai, okay? I'm
yeah,
offended, and I don't know much.
hyrate, so you know, it's so I couldn't, I just couldn't do it. That was like my first exposure to it, and I realized they sound
Yeah.
like I sounded when I was like 12 years old in Mexico, making fun of Spanish to native speakers of Spanish in Mexico. It was
Right.
shameful what I was doing.
Right,
Um,
right, absolutely. And I would say the majority of non-native speakers will always be that way. I think you're an exception to the rule, and I think people serious about learning Greek need to really pay attention to your content because you are so methodical in your approach. In fact, like just talking to you, I realize I don't think I've ever truly learned any language using your approach. I mean, I could understand people, I could communicate using my American accent, but I can't shake my American pronunciation. It's very difficult.
but I don't think, like, my encouragement to you would not be to, like, okay, you want to try. Obviously, you want to try to shake your American pronunciation, but you're never going to shake it.
Yeah,
Like I haven't shaken it. Like I sound,
right.
maybe you probably can't hear it, but when I listen to
No,
myself like interview that Greek Orthodox priest in Athens,
yeah,
I hear my accent. Like I can hear my accent, because my, like, the first thing you have to develop is your ear.
yeah,
It's just when it's coming out of my mouth and I'm speaking and I'm nervous, I hear it after the fact. I hear it in the recording, but I don't hear it well enough when
interesting.
I'm speaking. I mean, I've gotten better. My pronunciation now is much better than it was when I first started speaking to my son, because I really cut my teeth with Greek raising my son.
Well,
But go
you
ahead.
want a word of encouragement? You spoke Greek better than that Greek Orthodox priest did. You spoke quicker than he did, like much quicker. I went and
Oh,
watched the
oh,
video
oh, oh, yeah.
yesterday.
No, but okay. He just has a cadence that is,
Yeah.
he just takes his time, and that
Yes.
made the dubbing process very difficult. But what he does,
Yeah.
his cadence is like speak really fast and then like take my time, and then speak really fast for a little bit and then take my time. And
Yes.
like, he's an older guy, but that's not
Yeah.
a measure, that's not a quality of like good or bad. It's just,
Right.
yeah, he has a certain, but I really, really, really enjoy listening to his Greek in particular. Like he has a very,
Yeah.
like, he's super articulate, and
Oh,
uh
definitely. But man, like if I were a space alien and I was listening to both of you, I'd be like, Steven knows Greek better. Just
uh,
at first glance, like you
yeah,
were
yeah.
quicker, you had more vocabulary. In fact, I understood, I could follow along with the Greek Orthodox priest more naturally because he was just like sort of like, just kind of at his own cadence, whereas you were like, "Brrr."
I don't know. I
Like,
mean, look, the intro that I recorded, like I dubbed my audio, and when I gave my intro in English, I had to dub over it in Greek, and it was very, very hard to speak that fast, and I actually had to cut out some of the pauses to make it like match the rate at which I was speaking in English. I can't just,
okay,
I just can't speak super fast Greek. And Greeks, like, that guy's an exception. He's a slow talker. Most Greeks are
gotcha,
fast talkers, and
okay,
there are fast talkers in Greece that I believe it's just like a sport to them talking fast.
uh, oh
It's like
yeah,
it's a
yeah,
blend between the language itself being like a language that lends itself to fast speech,
mm-hmm,
especially with the vowel system, the fact that all the vowels are now short and reduced and everything's like E, and it's just a staccato, like machine gun. Like
right,
I
right,
have met Greeks that are just like, now I've finally gotten to the point where I can kind of understand really, really rapid machine gun fire speech from Greeks, but it took a
okay,
long time for me to get that to develop my listening comprehension to where I could understand people speaking that fast.
Interesting.
So moving on from the E, we have
Yes.
this, right?
Yes.
There is no difference between these, right?
Hmm.
So the first word is this. Sorry, this one right here.
Pateras.
Pateras, right? That sounded good.
Pateras.
What is that in ancient Greek?
Father.
But how do you say it in ancient Greek?
Pateras.
Well, that's modern Greek.
Oh, I don't know.
Patir.
What?
Patir.
Patir.
Yeah,
Okay.
with the ita, or pater, right? Now, in the Lord's Prayer, you say patrimon, right? Where with the stress over the alpha because it's vocative, and then that ita becomes an epsilon, right?
Yes.
But the as ending is the modern Greek form of it. So this is a third declension noun that has become first declension in modern Greek. So this is the transit. There was a transition. So
Okay.
and then this word is what?
The next one.
Yeah.
Mizi?
No.
Or Miri?
Nope.
Mary.
Yes, Mary.
Okay.
So it's basically like it's as if there were an epsilon there, but what you see on the surface, you see alpha iota, right? You see I, but you pronounce it like eh. And then and this is the word, this is the name Mary, right? But like it's not Maria, it's just the modernized form that sounds like Mary, right?
Okay, yes.
And then we have the little O and the big O, right? The Omicron and the Omega, which is the O as in what? Lot. Now, this is the same phenomenon as we saw with the A as in rather, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because in Britain they would say lot, right?
Oh yes,
it's a lot of them.
False.
So here it would sound a bit more like the O in the Greek O. So the word we have here is
menu.
Well, give me the first one.
Oh, sorry.
Italos, and then
menu.
No, well, okay. The remember, it's the same that we had in pen. Pateras, Mary. So it's not a, it's e.
Okay. Menu.
Now remember that the Omicron and the Omega are making the same sound.
Okay.
So it used to be that one was short o and the other was long o, right? Like there was some fundamental difference between them. This is kind of like saying oh twice. Oh, right? Or oh. But in modern Greek it's just oh. And you in your video you were saying it like ooh.
Yeah.
But it's not ooh, it's oh.
Okay. Meno.
Not meno.
Okay.
Meno. Right. Okay.
Meno.
And then we have this ooh, and they picked the weirdest word to represent it.
I don't like that one bit.
Lubricant. So this is an ooh, right?
Right.
Ooh. This is what you wanted to say. And then what does this mean?
Ute. I have no idea.
It means not.
Oh, ook.
Well, it's okay. Ooh can sometimes have the kappa at the end. Ook. Sometimes it can have a he at the end. Ook, depending on what follows it. Ute is a combination of te, which is like the enclitic form of and this just it means like neither, right? Ute, like neither nor, right? Or either or. So this is not, but it's in a specific instant. Now the negation in modern Greek has shifted from u to the or then, which is very confusing. But u lives on in modern Greek in this word ute, right?
Okay.
And then we didn't cover. So what did italos mean?
Italos. Hold on. Italian? No.
Yeah, it's an Italian. And then what is meno?
Meno. Meno.
I mean, you're not expected to know these things. I'm just curious if these are in your vocabulary. So meno means I stay, or it can mean I live, like I pause. I stay basically, like I meno.
Gotcha. Okay.
I remain. So then we
Yes.
have the simple consonants. So we have apla, symphona, symphona.
Symphono.
So again,
Okay.
it's phone, like from phony, right?
Mhm.
Combined with seen, right? Which turns into an M before the f, right? For the P,
Okay.
the
Yeah.
aspirated P. So symphona. So go through these really quick, these words.
Vaso.
Vaso, not bazo, right?
Yes. Vaso. Edo.
Not edo,
Edo.
edo, right? And they're
Okay.
saying this is D. They're transliterating it as DH, which is kind of confusing, but like DH as in then.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, edo, edo.
Yes. Yes. Zite.
Zite.
Zite. Telo. Telo.
Fellow.
Oh, fellow.
Yeah,
Sorry.
fellow.
Yes. Fellow. Lexi.
Lexi.
Yes. Minas.
Minas.
Neos.
Mm-hmm.
Prepi.
Mm-hmm.
Nero.
Yep.
Isus.
Nope.
Isos.
You got to get that stress there.
Isos.
Isos, yeah.
Isos. Okay. Tora.
Tora.
Farmaco.
Farmaco. Okay. Now,
Farmaco.
do you recognize any of these words? I don't think it's productive for me to drill you on all of them at this point.
Almost all of them. Vaso.
And
Vaso.
and what you'll notice also is that most of them have some connection to like they're either it either corresponds with the ancient Greek term or it is the ancient Greek term, but some of them are modern versions. It's just like you once you acquire this vocabulary, you're importing a lot of ancient Greek just by default.
Okay, gotcha.
So now it's getting the next page that they reserve for the next page, the ones that are a little less intuitive, right? Which is the bifurcation of gamma into the two different categories. So one of them is the y sound as in year when followed by the sounds e or e, right? Now, this is confusing because they say when it's followed by e, but it's not like they're saying the sound and then epsilon in quotations, but what they really mean is the sound e, which is also produced by the combination of alpha iota, right?
Okay, right.
And then and then we have GH here, which makes a continuous sound, which sounds like what?
R.
Yeah, r.
Yeah,
now,
r.
the tricky thing is like, and this is one of the hardest ones for English speakers to pronounce, and I drop it. Sometimes I pronounce it too hard. I say g, especially like in words like this, grafo. Sometimes you'll catch me saying grafo, like with too hard of a g. They say grafo. What they don't say is it's not like it's not gargling, right? It's
right.
It's effectively it's in this velar group of k g h r. It's the opposite. So if you say k and it's in this vel, it's touching your tongue is touching your velum in the back of your throat and it's going k, and then g is where with your vocal cords, and then the counterpart, the allophone of k is h, where you're letting a bit more air through, but it's in the same place. And then when you vibrate your vocal cords, you go right. So give me these words.
Okay. Hieros.
Not ye, it's not an e, it's hieros.
Okay.
Right.
Hieros. Okay. Yati.
Yeah, yati. And the trick here is it's not just ya, it's kind of like ya. You actually get this like friction on your velum, right?
Okay.
So hieros is an old man, right?
Okay.
Hieros.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it comes from ancient Greek would be hieron, but now it's sort of So, and then we have yati means what?
Yati. That means why?
Why? Yeah. In ancient Greek it would be diati, but now it's yati. And then we have big. Sorry. Big.
Megali.
Yeah, megali.
Megali. Yes, big.
The L is a bit you gave it a dark quality, this l megali. It should at least in the south of Greece it's like l megali.
Okay.
It's palatalized, basically.
Megali.
Megali.
Okay. Kind
Yeah.
of like the g and the r.
Yeah.
The
There
L and
are
the
dialects of Greek where it's different. But
Yeah.
the sort of quote unquote standard would be megali.
Okay, gotcha. And
Megali
then
and
grafo. I'm sorry, I don't understand this word because there are no English equivalents to I'm just kidding. Grafo obviously means I write.
graph. Yeah. Grafo. Yeah. So grafo, and then you have the h
Yes. Ochi.
and
Ochi. Gero.
yeah. So this is not a, it's e. So you got to be careful. I think you have a tendency to turn your es into e.
Yeah.
And what they're trying, so these are two distinct groups. There's the ojiero, and then
Okay.
these two words are what?
Echo. Nichta.
Yeah.
So I have and night. And ochi means no.
Yeah. Ohi means no. It would have been u or uhi in ancient Greek. Now the key is that when the h is followed by a iota or an epsilon or an e, like an e or an e sound, which are front vowels, that he you have to pronounce with a smile on your face. You have to say he.
I like it. Oh, he.
At least it's in its exaggerated form. You want that smile to make sure that you're retracting into this palatalized position.
Okay.
It's a hiss.
Okay.
It sounds like hissing.
Like the ophis in the Garden of Paradise, the ophis, the snake.
Yes, but when you get to this the trick here is not to say ch, and it's not chero. It's hiero. Yeah, it almost has a y quality to it before the sound, and this is really hard. Like this was really a hard habit for me to break from Spanish because I sort of like, I don't know, I associated my it was really hard for me to kick my Spanish accent when I started learning Greek, and so I would say things like chero, but it's not chero, it's hiero. You have to get that hiero. Yeah, it's kind of like it's almost like quiero, but with a he at the beginning.
Okay.
As opposed to echo, which is now just like a bit more forward. It's ch. And that's why they're saying that the he sound, it can be like the h in the German ich or the ch in the Scottish loch. Those are fundamentally two different sounds. And it sounds like he before e and e, and it sounds like ch before every other consonant, like echo and nichta, right?
Nichta, yes.
And then
nichta.
And then this word here
in Greek, the nichta is spelled with a kappa, right? Nichta.
Well, yeah. So in ancient Greek, it was spelled. It was nukes, right? Like with a xi, nix. And nikta is still considered like that's a bit formal. And and what you'll find is that nikta is considered like the formal variety of nichta.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, because when I went through my video again, I'm like, it's very interesting because modern they say kalinichta for good night, but in the Koine in Matthew they spelled it with a kappa, and I still pronounced it as nichta, but going back, I probably should have said nichta, but I don't know.
Yeah. So, no, it's just that it turned into ch from, so the combination of kappa taf, like kta, became chta in modern Greek. But there is a resistance against it in the formal register of Greek, so that there are formal alternatives to it that are kta, right? So you'll still hear, like, people will still say nikta in formal settings or like in church, like church Greek, right? Ecclesiastical Greek, because they're essentially using ancient Greek. But the thing is, in the nominative case, like real ancient Greek would be nix in the nominative case, but nikta is just the formal variety of modern Greek. So like modern Greek has a spectrum between formal, which is closer to ancient Greek, and then informal, which is demotic, like, normal people talk, right?
Got it.
So,
Okay.
so what do we got going on here?
Eki.
A key, right? And I think you said it like eki at one point. Just make sure you get that stress on the, it's
Yeah.
oxytone, right? Epsilon iota,
Okay.
a key.
Yes. Ekato.
Ekato.
100?
Ekato, yeah, 100. Now, how would you say that in ancient Greek?
Oh. I haven't seen it in Matthew yet, so I have no idea.
Really? Well, I mean, okay, the last 2 times I asked you how to say something in modern Greek, what did you have
It,
to
it,
do?
it was the same. Ekaton?
Yeah, ekaton.
Whoa. I got it right. Wow. Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
That's encouraging.
So what they're showing you is that like these are 2 different versions of the k, right? So one of them is a with a smile. The other is a k with your mouth, with your jaw relaxed, right? K.
Okay.
But they're fundamentally different sounds. They're
Interesting.
allophones, right? One is the k, and the other is a k,
Cool. Okay.
right? Now,
Okay.
now a lot of people would consider that like if you're not really targeting, like trying your best to emulate native pronunciation, who cares, right? You just say key and lock, and it's like it feels the same to you. But
Yeah.
when you tune your ear to it, they are completely different sounds. Now,
Okay.
here, somewhat different sounds, slightly different sounds. Here, you'll see what we were talking about, the MP and the NT combinations, right? And these are called dipsifa symphona, right? 2-letter consonants. Now,
Okay.
we have the B as in beat, and then we have MB as in number, right?
Okay.
So
Interesting.
yeah, so again, now you're in modern Greek territory. This is not like we're not talking about, ancient Greek words for the most part here. But
Yeah.
what's the first word that we see?
I didn't realize we were learning Spanish today, but
Yep.
baño.
Yep, baño. So here you're not really going to see you're not going to see the pronunciation baño, right? Like there's at the beginning of a word, that MB is exclusively B, right?
Okay.
But
Right.
but here, what do you see?
Turbina.
Turbina, right? And also this is a representation of a foreign word, so it's not turbina. It's like it's not mba. Like the M doesn't have time to doesn't have resonance, right? And then
Right.
here,
Okay, this is experimental, but I'm gonna say bambas.
no, it's just babas,
Oh, babas. Okay, sorry.
right?
Babas.
Right? It's just I think papas turned into babas. Now this is an
Okay.
interesting one.
Oh. Rambros.
Rambros, right? So
Rambros.
here, like in ancient Greek, this p would have been a b sound, but it was spelled with a vita, right? And in
Interesting.
modern spelling, it's now become rambros, but it is pronounced like mb, not b. So you wouldn't necessarily say rabros without the m. That m is going to interject into it. And it's going
Okay.
to be rambros.
And what does it mean?
It's your son-in-law, or the
Oh,
or the bridegroom, right? Brother-in-law, son-in-law, different,
Rambros.
rambros.
Interesting.
A family term. And then here we have again. So they're saying that the MP combination can be a B as in beat,
Mhm.
but it can also be MB as a number. And it just
Okay.
depends, because the reason why this is not rabros, the reason why you hear the M is because it's coming from ancient Greek.
Interesting.
So they are not treating it, it's not foreign. If it's foreign, it's B. If it's native, it's MB. And so that's why it's kind of funny when you like it's interesting when you start a video about, I'm going to read through Matthew, and then you're talking about how you're learning, like you're learning these nuances of pronunciation. You're saying the MP is really a B. It is, but whenever you encounter it in the Bible, it's still going to sound like number.
Okay, fascinating. Okay, so loan words, bira,
Yes,
banyo.
that's it. Loan words
That
will have a B, and then native Greek words will have mba.
okay, good.
So
Well, I'm glad.
and then the same thing will happen with these NT combinations. So the NT can be a D as in dignity in these words. Go ahead and read them when it's an initial
Okay,
sound.
dinome.
Not dinome, no.
Oh, sorry, dinome.
Dinome, yeah, dinome.
Okay, okay,
It's a hard D.
right, right. Capardina.
Capardina.
Okay. Um. Oh no. Dada.
Not dada.
Dada.
Dada. That's
Okay.
a nanny.
Interesting. Nanny.
Hmm.
Dada. Okay. What's the capardina? What's that mean?
It's like a piece of it's like a trench coat, like a
Oh.
capardina.
Okay.
I think these are coming from Italian, if I'm not mistaken. And then
Probably.
okay, and so here you have what word?
Well, I would want to say pada, but given the
Well, that's not what
like
it's saying here.
right, nd as an under panda. Interesting.
Banda. So what you're going to
Panda.
hear is you're going to hear restored pronunciation, the Erasmian school of thought. It's going to be
Yeah.
panta, right? Panta.
Okay. Yeah.
But the Greeks don't say panta because when that N starts vibrating your vocal cords, it's going to change the pronunciation of the T to sound more like D.
Okay.
Because once that
Got
T
it.
starts vibrating, it becomes the allophone D.
Wow.
However, you will hear, and this is funny because they're putting panda in the category of the words that are not pronounced like D as in dignity. They're saying this is an ND. This is prescriptive.
Okay.
So the author is saying that you should pronounce panda with an N. However,
Okay.
your instinct was correct. You will hear Greeks pronouncing it the other way around, saying pada, pada.
Really? Okay.
Not
Okay.
pada, not the, but da, pada. And they'll do it in fast, connected, casual speech. I say
Okay.
casual. Some people may say sloppy, right?
Yeah.
Or like kind
Yeah.
of like not very careful speech, right? So basically the articulate form that's recommended by the book, that is prescribed by the book, is panda with a very, very clear N. Kind of similar, like, like the recommended way to speak Spanish is más o menos, but then you hear people saying más o menos.
Right.
The
Exactly.
recommended way of saying this is panda, but you'll hear Greeks saying pada. And it's just like you stop them for a second. Wait a minute, where is that? Where is the N? I didn't hear you say the N. And it's just like I'm just being casual. So in casual, like now there are people that like feel very strongly about it, but you and I we can't have we're not entitled to an opinion on this, right? Because this is we're outsiders. So for us, we just have to keep in mind that there is a sort of high standard ecclesiastical pronunciation, right? Like that you're supposed to use, and then there's sort of like the way that people just sort of talk when they're off the cuff and they're relaxed. And so you have to brace yourself for some variation. But as far as the book is concerned, it's panda. It's not pada, right?
Okay. And this word means all, right?
Well, yeah, it means
every.
Yeah, in the masculine it would be pas, right? And then in the neuter it would be pan, and then the neuter plural it would be panda.
Okay.
So panda ta ethni is all of the nations, or all of the Gentiles, depending on what the context says.
Yeah. Yes, I've seen that. Fantastas.
Not pandas would be a different form. Yeah, but that would be like feminine plural accusative, right?
Okay. Gotcha.
But panda is neuter plural nominative or accusative. So here we have these interesting combinations of g and ng, right? So try these words on for size.
Gaffa.
It's just gafa. It's not ngafa. It's just gafa, right?
Okay.
But what it
Okay.
isn't, what it is not, is it is not gafa. It is not g. It is g.
Right.
It is a hard g.
Okay. Gafa.
Yep.
Okay. Gafa. Sorry.
So when it's the
Nga.
initial sound, it's gafa.
Okay. And then argo.
Argo.
Okay.
So it's just
Argo.
g when preceded by a consonant. Argo, right?
Okay. Argo. Pangrati.
Pangrati.
Pangrati. Okay.
Yeah.
Anglica.
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 Anglica. That's what we speak.
Yeah.
Right?
So when I see the two G's together, the two gammas, is that always an NG sound, angelos, right?
Yes and no.
And-
I mean, they're saying that gamma kappa is nga. Sometimes,
Okay.
but it is, so in some circumstances it's a g. In some circumstances it's nga. The
Okay.
double gamma is almost always nga, but there are some exceptions.
Okay. Melo Anglica. But I've seen them say Aglica, so
Yes, it does. It does get a sort of de-emphasis, or the people will slur that a little bit, and it sounds like they're saying Aglica, but it is Angli. There is an N there. It's just that N is sort of fleeting.
okay, got it. It's kind of like my ex when I told her, when you say "cómo está," you're not saying the S at the end, and she's like, "Yes, I am," and I'm like,
as far as they're concerned, they're saying it. It's just they have
they
this
think they're
placeholder.
saying it.
Well, but again, there is a glottal stop. There is like an actual, phonetic sound that they're not just dropping the S. It's a bit more sophisticated than that.
Right.
But okay, so then we have this ts,
So,
which is a
Done.
single sound, even though it is like, if you see this in ancient Greek, it's going to be t, s, ts. But
Tuh,
here it is
okay.
actually sort of the Greek equivalent of ch, like chair, right?
No way.
So they're saying tsanda. It's
Okay.
it's not chanda, right? But it's
Yeah.
the closest thing. Like, so would, like, my kid, when he was like had a, he sort of had a weird accent when he was very little because he didn't speak English, and like he would say chair like tser, right? He, like, that's the way he pronounced it. Because
Interesting.
he didn't have a ch sound in his, like, for whatever reason. He should have had it from his Russian, but
Yeah.
he had a little Greek speech impediment for the ch sound. And
Okay.
then the TZ is just the opposite, which is basically their equivalent of a J sound, which is common in Turkish loan words like zaki.
Oh,
right?
interesting. Is that like the Russian rendition of jeans? They say the jeans.
Zins. Well, no, yes
Zins.
and no. In Russian, they have dj, so they'll say djin, jeansy.
Jeans. It's a very strange way they render that.
They do the same thing that they do in Greek, but in Greek they have z, and it's a single, like, it's a z. So
Okay.
zaki is the Turkish word for fireplace, and then that's what the Greeks call it. The Greeks purged most of their Turkish vocabulary that they had from the Turkish period. They purged it from the language, but there are words like daki. And I'm usually surprised when I inform Greek people about this, like, like, whenever I see these words and I identify them as being Turkish, like, some Greeks are not hyper aware of this, like, oh, that's a Turkish word, like, that's a Greek word. You're like, no, these words that have a z sound, like, they're coming from Turkish. But the Greeks didn't quite, the purge was not 100% successful. Like, they still retain some Greek artifacts in the language.
Right. It's similar to Spanish. They have usted. I might have told you this, which comes from in Arabic they have usted, but I think that word actually comes from Turkish, but it's an honorific term. But I'm an advocate for returning Spanish to the vosotros form. That's the original form. So
yeah,
I understand, like, the political sort of, argument there.
Yeah. Vosotros
return to your roots.
cocináis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Usted. Now, there was a weird conspiracy theory that usted came from Spanish la vuestra merced, and then it evolved into usted. But no, the Arabic word for like professor or sir or whatever, it's usted. So obviously the usted in Spanish comes from that. But
Okay. Well,
yeah, big debate.
yeah. So you'll encounter these Turkish loan words in Greek, and you'll see these
Okay.
the z and the z. Those are fun. Then you have dipla, the double symphona, the double consonants, right? Which are
Okay.
basically one letter that represents a combination of two sounds.
Okay.
So you get this word.
Exypnos.
Well, it's not x in this environment.
Oh, exypnos.
Exypnos, right?
Wake up.
Yeah, it actually means that you're smart.
No way.
Yeah, it's like you're woke. You're
Oh,
yeah.
you're awake. Yeah,
Well,
you're awake.
yeah, I mean, etymologically, it means you're alert, but in
Okay.
now it just means you're clever, you're sharp, because it's
Okay.
it's hypnos or like hypnos, like
Mhm.
hypnotic, right? Ex
Yeah.
hypnos means like from sleep.
Okay. Out of sleep. Yes.
Yeah, and then if you are awake, now the word awake is xipnios. Xipnios.
Oh, exypnos.
But
Okay.
exypnos means that you're smart. And then we have the
Gotcha.
modern word for bread.
See me.
What?
So me. Sorry. So
What?
me.
No, wait, you gotta get the
So me.
so me. Yeah, so me.
So me. Okay.
So me. Now here you have these diphthongs where they are true diphthongs. So normally this is going to be pronounced like eh, but
Mm-hmm.
whenever the stress falls on the alpha, you get this word, which is
Nereda.
nope, it's not eh.
Nereda.
Nope. This is pronounced like an ah.
No way. How would you say it then?
Well, it gets transcribed for you in English right here.
Neraida?
No, because the stress is on the alpha.
Neraida.
Neraida.
No way.
Neraida.
Oh man.
Yeah,
That's
like
so hard.
it's a fairy. Neraida.
Okay. Neraida.
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
And then
Aidoni.
Aidoni, which is a nightingale, common nightingale.
Aidoni. Wow.
But it's a the, Aidoni. Neraida and Aidoni.
Neraida, Aidoni. Okay.
Right? So the ita is always like this. This is never going to form like an e. It's not a diphthong. It's just a combination of two vowels. Where this normally would be a diphthong, but when it's stress on the alpha gets the stress. It's going to be neraida.
Neraida. Okay.
Or coroido.
Coroido.
Yep, coroido. Now, it's not oido, it's coroido. But it's just like that's the way it's not that whenever they see an omicron iota, they always have to say e. They have a way of saying oi, and it's by putting the stress on the omicron. But this is a modern Greek spelling convention. This isn't
Okay.
so koroido means like a sucker or like a dupe, right? Like you're sort of you are the fall guy.
Yeah.
And then voitha, not voitha, but voitha, right? This is oi, voitha. Voitha with an exclamation point means help. It's like the imperative of voitho. I am helping.
Okay.
That's what it means. Voitha.
Okay.
Yeah,
so I have my whole list here.
So we have all of these other more complicated ones that we're going to go over in a lesson. I'm not going to drag you through it in this one, but I wanted to mention that I'm going to try to unlock for you. This is going to eventually be public.
Cool.
And it's going to be this Greek module that will be on the $10 a month tier. So when you go to the Cross Bible site, let's see, that's the window I'm in. So this is our new and improved homepage. And
Nice.
what you will see here is that what I have is this under resources, I've learned Greek. So this is not available yet, but I have Learn Greek the Easy Way, and you can see it's going to be divided into these different modules for the glossary, pronunciations, verbs, nouns, pronouns, and adjectives. Now, the glossary is actually what you're seeing here is basically you're seeing my own personal cheat sheet of when I was raising my son. Every
Mm-hmm.
time he said a new word, I would pull out my phone and I would record it. And then
What?
at the end of the day, when he was having his vocabulary explosion between ages like 2 and 4, but
Mm-hmm.
2 and 3 mostly, like when kids are just picking up like several words a day, I was whipping out my phone all the time recording them. And every evening I would sit down with my phone and I would plug them into my database.
Okay.
This is my database. So once I hit
Wow.
about 4,000 something words, when my child was actually, that's about the vocabulary that you need to have be considered sort of fluent, right? Like at
Mm-hmm.
2,000, you can kind of get by. 1,000, you're
Yeah.
kind of really struggling. By 3,000, you're like, you're on a roll, and by 4,000, you can pretty much communicate, right? Like, I mean, you're not like adult level would be, 10,000 and beyond when you're like, have a lot of synonyms and things like that. So this is
Right.
my kids' vocabulary basically.
Oh wow.
But what I would do is I would sit down in the evening, I would take my audio recordings of all the words my son said, I would plug them in usually they were in Greek, and then I would put the English gloss, and then I would try to get the ancient Greek translation wherever I could. And there are certain expressions like teliosa, like I all done or I finished that don't have. I'm gonna thin this out and make it like basically what you're seeing here is a glossary of a child's vocabulary. Um,
Okay.
it's a little personal. I need like I have bib, right? Saliara. There I
Mm-hmm.
don't know the word for bib in ancient Greek. But I tried my best to just make sure like even car, it's like amaxa. Like I was trying to come up with some little error. This was not meant for like public release initially, but
Yeah.
you can search for it here. So you can narrow it down by part of speech. You can get just the adjectives, for example, just the adverbs, just like the expressions, prepositions. You can search for like, plain or something like that and see, so it's like, it's very useful. I need to narrow it down to more useful vocabulary and a little bit less of the 3-year-old stuff. You'll probably see like, poo poo and, pee pee in here. Um,
Right.
but this, like I've been trying to make this isn't quite ready for prime time is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But it's going to be behind the $10 wall. So this pronunciation module is what when it's unlocked for you and for the people who are on the $10 tier, what you're going to see here is you're going to be able to click here. Did you hear that sound?
Yeah.
I don't know if you can hear it really well in StreamYard, but when you
Yeah.
click on information, you're going to see an example word. You're going to see the IPA. You're going to see the modern Greek and ancient Greek, and sometimes it's going to be the same thing. This font is
Nice.
not rendering polytonic very well, but this is where you're going to hear the word anthropos. So I recorded all of
Okay.
these. You're going to see a note, like alpha is like the A and A. So basically, you're going to be able to go through. If you want just the sort of flashcard version, you can just
Mm.
test yourself. Just like try to say it, listen to the sound after you say it, and just make sure
Yeah.
you got it right. And this is where you're going to see like I, and then you're going to come in here and you're going to look at like, oh, gaidaros or mayos, right? May, donkey. I flipped these, or these need to be flipped around. So there's a few, like I said, this wasn't ready for prime time, but I'm unlocking it for
Yeah.
you in the near future. And then I'm going to
Oh, thank
try
you.
to, I don't know. I feel like sometimes you get to a point where you just have to release something and then just
Yeah.
refine it later. I can go in and update this stuff. Agapao, I love, right? So you can go through. So it's not just the alphabet. The thing is, like, yeah, we're going to learn the alphabet, and I'm going to teach you some techniques for memorizing the alphabet, and I'm going to make a little video about it. But like, learning the
Awesome.
alphabet is what helps you like look things up in the dictionary, right? It was what when you're looking
Yes.
something up, you're like, alphabet. You're saying the alphabet to yourself. That's the only
Right.
utility it has. So, in my opinion, like knowing it's for learning alphabetical order, but reciting the
Yeah.
alphabet doesn't really get you very far. Um,
Alphabetos. Yes.
yeah, alfabetos, or alfavita or to alfabito.
Mm-hmm.
But these are like the sound combinations, right? So there's like he,
Okay.
So this is going to be useful for pronunciation, and you can do this on your phone too, by the way. Like this works
Oh,
really well on
awesome.
your phone. So here you'll see the kuta versus the chuta. So I did all the and
Pissed.
then there's little and then this nya sound, which is pretty cool that you hear in nya nya.
Yeah, like one.
Yeah.
Like they say that for like one thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then you have verbs here. The only verb I have right now is you can search. Get rid of my search criteria. So I have lino in modern Greek versus Leo, and I need.
Oh,
So here you're going to see the ancient Greek paradigm and the modern Greek paradigm. So like ancient Greek, modern Greek. A
awesome.
few of these need to be fixed, but I'm trying to make it so that you can hover over the Greek term and see the English term. And then nouns. So you're going to see like noun forms. The ancient Greek paradigm. This one's working. So like here you can see the difference.
Stratiotis.
Yes,
That means
stratiotis.
soldier.
It means soldier. It also means pawn if you're playing chess.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's
It's
cool.
learning chess vocabulary in Greek is extremely effective.
Wow.
It builds vocabulary, grammar. Like if you're a chess person, you need to learn how to play chess in Greek and describe chess moves in Greek. It's extremely valuable. And most of the vocabulary you learn in modern Greek is ancient Greek vocabulary that applies to chess because it's all military terminology.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you the Arabic word for chess. It's shatranj.
Shatranj.
The most beautiful word in any language, right there.
I think
Shatranj.
I think ajedrez is a cool word too.
It is. Yes. That's Spanish, right, for chess?
Yes.
Yes. And what's the Greek?
Greek, it's called skaki.
That's right.
But you know what? You can when you go into the glossary here, you're going to see chess actually has
Skaki.
skaki. So peony is a
Yeah.
pawn, skakiera is a chess board, but it's
Okay.
zatrikion in ancient Greek, which in technically ancient Greek didn't have a word for chess, but the formal term for chess is zatrikion.
So I bet that's a cognate to shatranj.
It is,
Then
yeah.
it's probably a Turkish, origin word.
But you're going to see a lot of
Zatrikion.
chess terminology in here. Also, that's because I taught my kid chess when he was 3. So, so like terms like end game and middle game and stuff like I put in parentheses all the chess terms.
Finale.
So this is just sort of like this whole glossary thing is like a peek into this sort of experiment that I ran on my kid raising him in Greek. And so we have
That's very cool.
adjectives, pronouns. So basically, the goal here is so that you're always framing ancient Greek and modern Greek side by side. So you can see the similarities and you can see the differences.
I love it.
So I'm going to add to this more, but this should be, I have a request into my developer to give you like your account, a little flag to give you access to it. But once
Oh,
I
thank you.
iron out a few kinks, this will be available on the $10 a month, plan and higher.
Oh, cool, man, amazing. Well, I'm at the $20 a month tier, and I don't plan to budge from that because
Thank you.
I want to see Cross Bible live and flourish. And if I don't know if this is going to be of any help, but I've been just going through and taking notes of every new word that I want to learn, like from any resource and so I have tons of verbs, tons of
Good.
nouns.
Well, I like the energy,
Los.
and I like the enthusiasm, and that's why it's a pleasure to have you in the class. Other people are welcome to join the class. It's kind of a lot of it is just me ranting and trying to teach something every Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And it's like this is the dark side. This is like this is modern Greek. It's sort of modern Greek as a bridge to ancient Greek. We're constantly delving into ancient Greek, but we're doing it from a modern Greek lens. I'm probably one of the only people that's doing this. One of the people in your comments is somebody who also produces content that has this perspective. But like when I saw it was so funny, I pull up your video and it's like, I mean, how many views do you have on this video? Like not that many, right? Like,
No,
I mean,
like
it's a small channel.
10.
And even with your 53 views, you manage to get somebody to jump in and say, avoid modern Greek, right? Like it's like
Yes. Yeah.
people will go out of their way to scold you or to just sort of warn you, like, hey, by the
Mhm.
way, you shouldn't do modern Greek. Like, like if you tell
Yeah.
people like, I have this new Greek teacher and he's great, he's telling me I should learn modern Greek, people will be like,
Right.
run from that Greek teacher. Like, I am the flat earther of our community over on like the biblical languages group, right? Like, I'm the crazy one.
Really?
But it's
No.
funny though, but then when you go to Greece, you then look around at like millions of people and you're like, it's just normal. Like, so like
Right.
I'm normal
Right.
there, but everywhere outside of that country, I'm a crazy person. And
Interesting.
and that was the case like 10 years ago when I started. It was very like, it was just, I mean, I was getting like, I mean, I was experiencing a lot of like just almost like it was like racism. Like people would be
Oh,
like,
really?
because there are people that will say like the Greeks are Turks. They're not real Greeks. They're not real, like they're not like just people that I don't know, for whatever reason they're super bigoted towards Greek
Yeah.
people and the Greek language, and like they consider the modern Greek form of the language to be a corruption. And to be fair, there are Greek people that
Mhm.
feel that way too. Um
Right.
and so it's like they impose that bigotry towards Greeks and their language and their culture, and just sort of, they just don't consider the Greeks to be like worthy of the glorified view that we sort of elevate
Of
their
their heritage.
ancestors to. um
Yeah.
and then it's just like, I don't know, I'm a Philhellene, so like for me, like love the Greek people. I go there, I love the food, I love the culture, I love the language, I love everything about it. And for me, it's just
Right.
it's an echo of their glorious past.
Right.
You hear it, you hear it in the modern Greek language. You hear this echo of ancient Greek, and maybe it's a
Yeah.
distant echo, maybe it's a faint echo at times, but when you walk into a church, that echo is not faint. I'm sorry. That echo is like, it is ancient Greek. It's just like echoing in the church. Like it is resounding. Um,
Wow. That's
so,
awesome.
so I have just spent 10 years trying to figure out if any of them were right. Like all the people who
Hmm.
were criticizing me and warning me and telling me not to do it and telling me I was crazy. And then like 10 years later, I'm still doing pretty good. Like if I got reincarnated and like
Yeah.
and I had no Greek in my brain anymore and I had to go and like sign up from scratch, I'd be getting on a boat to Greece, right? Like I would be doing that. I would do the same if I had to do it all over again. I would do the same thing over and over and over again. I would not
Wow.
I would never like choose. I mean, I guess some people are in a circumstance where it's like, okay, well, they went to, Southern Baptist, seminary or whatever. Like that's just, they learned Erasmian and they're sort of, and
Yeah.
they're entrapped by it and they're biased. Like they believe that their system is correct because that's what they learned. Like I believe my system was correct because it's what I learned. Like I guess I'm biased too, but
Yeah. Yeah.
for me, it just worked spectacularly. It's not for everyone. Um,
No, it's not.
but
But what I can tell you is I think this is a problem everywhere because in my Arabic classes at DLI, like every single Arabic professor, whether they were Iraqi, Syrian, Egyptian, Jordanian, they all claimed that their dialect was the closest to modern standard. Now, what I can say is modern Saudi, modern Jordan is the closest, but you've got Iraqis that speak a like picture Italians claiming that their language is Latin, right?
yeah,
It's not, right? Picture the Spanish and the Portuguese claiming their what they speak is the closest to Latin, and then you go look at Latin and they're not mutually intelligible. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing. And there's a lot of bigotry. It's generational. There was one Jewish girl in my class that none of the Arabic professors liked. They all treated her kind of like trash because she had a Jewish sounding name and she looked Jewish, and it's just kind of in their blood. These are sort of ancient um conflicts that are still alive today. So I understand, and Greek's in its own particular situation, and yeah, they had the problems with the Turks, and frankly, I'm all on board with keeping the Greek pure to
well,
its
but another thing that you have to like, that I've come to realize is that when you submit to the authority of native speakers for the purpose of like, acquiring the right, accent.
Yeah.
You're submitting to the authority of like toddlers. Like
Right.
my son, raising him and speaking Greek, I realized very quickly, like when he started picking up the language at age 2 and progressed all the way to like age 3, there was a
Mhm.
point where it became very, very clear very quickly that my son outclassed me. Like, and
Really?
just like he and I would learn a vocabulary word in order to teach it to him. Like I would
Hmm.
whip out my phone, I'd look up a word. He'd be like, "What is that?" Like "Dinafto baba." Like, "What is that, Dad?" And I'd be like, "Crap, I don't even know what that word is." I'm gonna look it up. I would tell it to him. I'd be like, "Ah, ftoinen, like um skamni or something, like it's a stool, right?"
Yeah.
And then he would just like his brain would soak that up, and then the next day he would ask me like "Puinito skamni," and I didn't even know what he was saying, and it was the word that I
Right.
taught him because my brain's like a sieve. Like I just can't retain that vocabulary. But the kid's brain is like, like there is like they do have a sort of linguistic superpower, and
They
they
do.
in acquiring vocabulary especially. And
Yes.
when I would need like 5 to 10 repetitions of a word before it really locked itself in my expressive vocabulary. And with a
Yeah.
kid, it's like it's in the receptive vocabulary. They use it once, it sticks for a really long time. Eventually, he forgot it. Now,
Right.
now I'm my Greek is better than his. But there was a
Yeah.
while where I was like, he became like it was just out of control.
Right.
He
Right.
became a native speaker. And so,
Dang. That's awesome.
but I can imagine that if you're a classicist or you're a scholar and you've been learning this language and you're like translating Homer and you're doing all this stuff, like you don't want to take orders from a kid, or from some
Right.
native speaker who can't even read Homer, but he's correcting you on your Greek. You'd be like, screw you. Like, what? Who are you to tell me? Like
Yeah.
I get it. I get the sort of like superiority complex that people have out in the West, where they look at the
Oh
Greek,
yeah.
where they look down on the Greeks, but
Right.
just see so much value that I can extract from that culture and from that substrate, like from that version of the
Yeah.
language. And,
Yeah.
it's like,
Definitely.
it's a resource. Like, why not take advantage of that resource, and learn something
Yeah.
about another culture?
It's probably the richest resource that we can delve into, frankly. I'm getting so much out of this Greek, you have no idea. Like just having spent so much time in Arabic and then Spanish, the Romance languages. I have this theory that if you study enough Romance languages, you could get around in any Romance language speaking country and be just fine.
As long as
You
you learn
know,
like 2 of them.
yeah, yeah,
The
exactly.
same thing with the Slavic languages too. If you learn a couple Slavic languages, you can
Yeah,
interpret your way through a lot of them.
right, exactly. We spent a week in Sicily, and they don't speak Italian there; they speak Sicilian. And I made a couple friends, and like once you pick up on their speech pattern, they are speaking Italian. It's just rendered differently. Like
Yeah.
for example, the Italian word for cliff is scoglio, and in Sicilian it's scogio. They don't like that LG combination. They make it a double G, kind of like
Yeah.
moglie is a spouse, and in Sicilian it's mugiera, or famiglia becomes famiglia. So it's just a pattern in most cases, and yeah, once you catch on to the pattern, you can kind of coast on by. But I think Greek is so layered, and especially with the prefixes, that's the biggest thing that I've noticed. The biggest epiphany has been the prefixes. The EU makes it good.
Yeah.
The Apple makes it like out of. The EXO makes it out of. The
Russian,
ISO makes
yeah,
it
Russian has
inside.
basically the same system. Like
Oh, really?
their prepositions are used as prefixes for verbs that change the meaning, that usually have some kind of a prepositional effect, like it's a prepositional semantic pull or whatever, like range.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
Russian does that same thing, and it's like when I tell people again, like I'm the crazy one, right? Like I tell people, like
Yeah.
learning Russian really helped me learn Greek, and they're like, wait, how is that possible?
Yeah.
They're completely different languages. I'm like, no, 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 they're like very, very similar, and people,
Hmm.
people don't real unless you speak both of those languages, you don't know how similar they are. And unless
Yeah.
you like, ultimately, it boils down to this for me, for people who are giving me this advice to like avoid modern Greek like the plague. If
Hmm.
you didn't actually learn modern Greek to proficiency, like I do not believe, I've never met anyone in the world who has learned modern Greek and ancient Greek, at least to the extent that I have, and
Hmm.
and then turned around and said that was a bad move. Like, really shouldn't have done that. That was really like
Right.
or like, you shouldn't do that. Like, when I hear people tell you shouldn't do that, it's either because
Yeah.
it's either a person that has never learned modern Greek, or they tried and they got confused and they gave up after they've realized that there are so many e sounds.
Right. Right.
Or it's a native Greek person who doesn't know what it's like to acquire Greek as a foreign language because it's their native language, and then they
Yeah.
tell, like, I have heard Greeks say that, um,
Okay.
and I've heard non-Greeks say that when I ask the question, well, like, can I just learn ancient Greek and modern Greek? Like, what's the big deal? Like, why can't I just learn both?
Yeah.
And because it works for modern Greek people, right? And like the same thing with the pronunciation question. I hear people say it's okay for them, it's just not okay for us. Like, for us
Right.
Americans, like, we Americans, we shouldn't do that. The Greeks, we'll make an exception for them because it's their
Yeah.
native language, but for us, it's not our native language, so we shouldn't touch it.
So they're gatekeeping you, in other words. And
Yeah,
that's just
it is the gatekeeping across the board. It is nuts. And I'm hoping that, like,
yeah.
maybe if I am able to successfully, like, kind of like evangelize and get other people into this, and like you, and get other people, it's like,
Yes.
I feel it's with the landscape is different than it was 10 years ago, and I feel like it's people are coming around, and maybe
I hope
maybe we
so.
can collectively sort of start setting a trend now that
I hope so.
especially thanks to the work of Benjamin Cantor, who's normalizing
Yeah.
it.
Right.
He's still
Right.
not advocating. This book is not like how to use modern Greek pronunciation. This book is like the pronunciation of New Testament Greek, but with
Right.
a viable fallback option that he allows for, which is modern Greek, which he, by the way, I've
Yeah.
never heard him speak modern Greek. I don't know if he probably isn't quite fluent, but I have heard him deliver. There's a video of him online delivering a speech in ancient Greek with modern Greek pronunciation, and he's
Okay.
like mwah, flawless, like
Oh,
very,
really good.
very, very good. Like, it sounds like, I mean, I wish he would do that all the time. And I've
Yeah.
noticed a lot of these people who are like prominent kind of living language people who speak ancient Greek, like this guy, Gerardo Guzman.
Okay.
He's Mexican, and he teaches in Italy, and he speaks like Attic Greek, like very fluently. He
Really.
used to just have like kind of an Attic pronunciation with a Mexican flair, a Mexican accent, and he's shifted his
Wow.
pronunciation where he's now using modern Greek pronunciation as his like standard,
Interesting.
and it sounds like, I mean, to my ears, it sounds way better. And he's doing it in Greece because he's like dealing with Greek people, and I think he realized that if he uses a reconstructed pronunciation, it just is off-putting to a lot of people. So he's, for whatever, I
Yeah.
want to talk to him at some point and like pick his brain and figure out why he made the switch. But
Yeah,
people are making
definitely.
the switch.
Definitely. And eventually we'll all get up to Wes Huff's level where he's saying hologos, hologos.
Well, but that's the thing, is like, yeah, he was not, to like give him a break. Like, he just was
Yeah.
never trained to do that, and he just doesn't think
Right,
it's
right.
important. And I just, it's important to me. It's important to you. For some people, it's just not
Yes.
important. They don't care where the
Right.
stress. They don't care they don't care about putting the right, emphasis on the right syllable. Like, they're
The
just,
syllables.
yeah.
Right. Exactly. And one thing that I do appreciate about Wes Huff, first and foremost, I do have the utmost reverence for him because he does sit in his study and he tries to reconstruct the ancient manuscripts. Um, and he lit the fire under my butt to start learning Greek, which eventually led me to you. So
Yeah.
I can never, you know, say a bad word about him because he's doing so much good for our faith and our community. And but I'm just thankful that he led me to the OG, which truly, man, I've worked with so many so many linguists, so many language specialists, and you do have a true gift, an authentic gift. You know, I can only aspire to your level one day.
Well,
Um,
thank you,
but
but
I'm
but like I
eternally,
said, I did get outclassed by a 3-year-old, so
yeah. I mean, hey, being humble, the penitent man shall pass. That that's how I'm approaching all of this, like with penitence. Like I am walking into uncharted territory. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm doing my best. I'm fascinated. I have a love. I want to learn. I want to absorb it all. But I am not out there trying to pretend like I know what I'm talking about. That's one thing. Like even the my most recent video, I said chrison, the word for gold. I said that's where we got the word christened from, and that's not true. I looked up the etymology of christened. It comes from Christ. To christen something is to bless it. You know,
yeah, they're different roots, but it's
different roots.
it's Hrison with the stress on the
Yes,
end,
frison.
right?
Yes, yes,
And oh,
right.
and I guess the other nitpicky thing before we wrap this up. So
Yeah.
epsilon, if
Mhm.
you go back to the learn Greek the easy way, right? Pronunciation. The
Yes.
the diphthong here, this is
Mhm.
"eu" in ancient Greek, but it's "f", like every effort, right? Ev or F.
Yes, yes.
Evangelio, Evangelion, Defteros, Evangelion, Defteros. So you pronounced it in the stream like "oi", right? That
Oh,
that
okay.
is German Erasmian pronunciation, because like they pronounce omicron iota and epsilon ypsilon like "oi".
Okay.
But
Gotcha.
yeah,
Gotcha.
it would be like "eu" in reconstructed pronunciation, but like "ev" or "f" in modern Greek. So, uh,
Okay. Evangelio
but when
Defteros.
when you get access to this module, you'll be able to go through it and quiz yourself. And like I said, it works on a mobile too. Like I did every single audio recording of every sound, every word. So those are all like I've tested. I believe I've tested all the play buttons, but I would like for you to go through it, and like if you find any errors, like please let me know, and on Discord or whatever.
Oh, absolutely. Will
Yeah.
do.
And then yeah, so
Yeah.
everybody, like please like go sign up for free on Cross Bible. If you
Mhm.
sign up for free, you can get access to a lot of the the customization features in your Bible reader. So this like custom theme that I get applied every time I go to my Bible reader, this is what I configure in my settings over here. Then this is available for free. You can have these little customizations. But this stuff right here that you see, this is behind the $5 a month tier. And then we're updating our pricing. So some stuff will be behind the $10 a month tier, like some of the detail and like the cross-reference navigation. I'm kind of trying to rejigger the pricing right now, just to sort of figure out a way to get to just, self-sustainability. But thank you for everybody who's signing up and, subscribing. But at least just register for free so you get access to some of this cool stuff. But if you could
Yeah.
afford the $5 month tier, that unlocks a lot of the capabilities. And better yet, if you can, afford the $10 a month tier, even if you're not on the software, like we do have a Patreon account. Just trying to push, the YouTube. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to YouTube, and then go to obviously the Biblical Linguist channel. I'll make sure that there's like a link to in the description for that. So everybody can
Man,
go
thank you.
subscribe to your channel and your Bible readings, and then hopefully they'll just see the progress that from this point on,
Yeah.
your pronunciation is going to start to kind of come to what would you say, like to sort of normalize. Let's say you're
Yeah.
gonna start
Yeah.
to normalize.
It'll progressively improve, and thanks to
Yeah,
you.
and the haters are gonna hate. You're gonna get people coming in the comments like, "What are you doing? You're crazy." You're gonna people are gonna try to make you feel like a flat earther.
Right,
And then
right.
other people will come into the comments, like the Learn Biblical Greek 3116 guy. Subscribe to
Yeah.
him too, by
Yeah.
the way. Show him some love because he left a good
Well,
comment.
I could prove right now that the Earth can't be flat because I mean it can't be round because look at this. All right, look, watch what happens. Now watch what happens here. on the flat Earth. Watch what happens. Oh yeah. See, I just proved flat Earth. So
Nice.
you're welcome,
Nice.
internet.
All right. Well,
I'm just kidding.
anything else you want to close out with, or did we cover
No,
everything?
man. Thank you so much. I'm sorry. I've been super tired, but you know, I've been doing my. I realize I probably look exhausted on this stream because I've been going all day.
Oh,
But
me too.
I can't thank you enough for, just this exchange, your tutelage, your knowledge. I really believe in what you're doing, and I believe God put it on my heart to go on this mission, and I want to bring Greek to everybody. I want to normalize it. I want to bring it to the world. I want to bring enthusiasm and excitement for it because ever since I started, like I've just felt my brain configuration has changed altogether. I feel smarter. I feel more elucidated. I feel like I have access to so much more insights, and I feel like God is guiding me along truly. So thank you, Stephen. I believe in what you're doing. I support you all the way, and even if my channel continues to get 20 views per video, I'm gonna keep cranking these.
Yeah, you'll get more. It's just it's a niche, so it's always going to be a niche thing. But yeah, I know you're already getting a lot of good feedback and engagement. So just keep posting stuff
definitely.
in the biblical languages group, and
yes,
and then again, just try to avoid the hater. Try to ignore the haters. I don't know. You may not have felt it yet, but you'll feel it. People are really gonna like start downvoting and trolling.
I expect it because I'm not a native. I'm a novice, and
no, not because you're not a native. I mean, like, no, the Greeks will like it if you try your best to emulate Greek pronunciation. Like, Greeks will like it. It's our fellow Americans that are going to have an issue with it.
Okay, got it. Right. But it's my mission. I'm going to go through the full New Testament. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to go through the Old Testament. I'm going to go through several languages. Eventually, I'll get to Latin. Eventually, I want to get to Russian. So, Stephen, I hope you're in this for the long haul, my friend, because I'm going to need your services for a very long time.
Yeah. Можем и русским языком позаниматься.
Yeah, русский очень трудный язык,
Да.
I definitely butchered
Достаточно
that.
трудный.
Yes.
All right.
Спасибо.
Cool, пожалуйста. Okay,
yes. Well, thank you so much for everything. I hope I didn't butcher this too bad, but I hope to do this again soon. Thank you so much. Seriously.
All right. Thank you for the time.
This is amazing, man. So let's keep it up.
All right.
Later. All right. Thanks, brother. You have a good night.
You too.